What's up, Joe?
How we doing, Bob?
Josephine, Joe Blow, Slow Joe. All right, I'll stop.
George Gordon Levitt. Good.
What's up, man? Yeah, Joseph Gordon Levitt.
Yeah.
I always go. Yeah, anytime I call you, he's like, "What's up, Bob?" I'm like, "What's up, Joseph Gordon Levitt?"
Always.
Yep. How are you, man?
I'm good. Good.
I know we
Hot,
just got
humid.
backstage like 5 minutes ago, because we were so busy with and the backstage was filled and it's just
Yeah.
playing and all that. So, I'm excited for tonight.
Me too.
I love doing these, man. Like, I was telling Mizzy, I was texting with him yesterday, and I was just like, man, these things, people do things for different reasons, right? Some people, and I'm just going to shoot straight with you, right? There was that whole live stream on Sunday, people talking crap, about the community and stuff. People do things for different reasons. Some people do it for the money. Some people treat it like a job. They want to make YouTube like a job. I don't. I don't post clickbait stuff. It's not my style. I don't post thumbnails that are clickbait. Tony makes my thumbnails anyways. But thanks, Tony. Shout out to Basement Blues. But for me, it's about doing things I love. And the game nights are fun, but they can be negative. And there's already so much negativity surrounding Instagram and movie community and physical media. Doing these, there's not much negativity. The only negativity is saying I didn't like a movie. And that's not a negative comment. It's just saying, hey, it didn't work for me. And then we have a conversation about it. So I love doing these. They're easily my favorite thing I do on YouTube. I don't do it for the viewers, people that watch. I appreciate it. We got Holland Oates in here. He's always watching. Like, I appreciate you showing up, Holland, and watching these. But for me, it's having that interaction, that one-on-one. I fucking love it, man. I love it. I love talking these movies. People that recommend me movies, me recommending them movies. Like next week, I have my stream with Mizzy, and let me tell you, man, those are 10 heavy films that are going to evoke some conversations. And that's what it's about for me, sitting here talking movies. And tonight, I recommended you some comedies that Basement Blues would not approve of. But
true.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? Tony's a good guy. He can handle it, right? Let's catch up with the chat here. We've got, look at that, Ava, Jeff's daughter is in the chat saying hi. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for the comment, and thank you for the well wishes on reaching 2K subs. We've got Adrian saying, hey, Bob and Joe. Holland Oates says, what's up? Marie is in the chat. Hi, Bob, watching from the other room. Can't wait for you to hear Joe's results. Did she watch all the movies with you, all 10?
I was going to say, she watched all of them, and I have her rankings as well, if you're interested in that.
I didn't give my predictions of hers, but I would love to hear her rankings.
Just because I remember Tim and April watched a lot of them together. So I was like, I told her, I said, give me your rankings, and, I'll throw it in here if we have time for it.
No, we'll definitely have time for it. It doesn't matter what the time is. I'm going to write it as I go. I'm going to try and predict her rankings as I go, just so I can give both, because I feel like it would be fun to do that as well. And I'm sure she would be curious to hear what I predicted for her as well. So I don't have as much time to think about that. I'm writing it right now, 3, 2, 1, and I'll kind of do it as I go. So if you see me looking down, that's the reason why.
No worries. Do you want me to give hers at the end, or
give hers at the end? Yeah, no, because I want people knowing what I recommended to you. We got Jeff in here saying, fancy meeting you here, Jeff. Good evening, everyone. Fancy meeting you here, Fish. Joe's in the chat saying hello, everyone. Nikki, one of my absolute favorite people in this entire world. We've got Nikki saying hello, Bob and Joe, and everyone in the chat. Hey, Marie,
hello.
Joe, Fish Mom. And I don't sugarcoat it, right? I don't care if I've had people on my channel. I'll tell you just like it is. If I didn't have a good stream with you, I'll fucking tell you. My conversation with Nikki last week, I loved that stream. I am very, very grateful for Nikki joining me for that. It was just a great conversation. She actually
gave you good movies, even though you didn't like a couple of them.
Liked a couple of them, but I liked what her opinions, and I liked that she incorporated a story and what it meant to her as a child or growing up, her parents, almost in every movie, which was really cool to me. And then
I really enjoyed that.
So yeah, absolutely. That's what it's about for me. Corey says, what's up? We got him. We got Mizzy in the chat saying, hey, everyone. Here she is again, Ava. Lots of highs. I'm going to skip the highs back and forth. We got to get started here. We got Miss Jess in the chat saying, have a fun stream with the heart. I can't do the hearts, Miss Jess. I don't do it on my iPhone though, or whatever. So, we got Holland Oat saying hi, Bonnie. I did skip Bonnie right there. We got Bonnie saying good evening, Mama Blu-ray. April's in the chat. She's another one of my favorites. Absolutely adore April. She is the heart and soul of this community. But Johnny would he's probably kicking sand right now as I say that. Sorry, Johnny.
Yeah.
Draculina Horrors in here. We got what's up, Caprice? Hello, everyone. How are you, Caprice? We got Adam in here saying, Doctor. Hey, Mizzy. Tony is all about the clickbait I need. Tony's all the clickbait I need. We got
Tony's always
we got
clickbaity.
Vinicio in the chat. What's up, Bobby Blue? Oh man, Vinicio is such a good guy too. Me and Mizzy were talking about Vinicio a couple weeks ago. How that's like he's a reason you can't judge a book by its cover because if I don't know if you know who Vinicio is, but
I do. I've been on a couple streams with him.
And if you ran across Vinicio in a dark alley, you'd be terrified. But he's like the nicest damn guy you'll meet. And Mizzy and I were both talking about that. Look at that, Vinicio, motherfucking horror cholo. What's up, cool kids? We got Johnny in the chat, Movie Warehouse. What's up, Nicholas? Who was talking bad about the community? Did you watch that stream on Sunday? Did you hear about it?
I don't even know. I didn't even hear about it.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell me after. I'll have to go back and look for it.
Negativity. And it's just negativeness surrounding the community. Tony says, I do not approve already. But yeah, it's not just that negativity surrounding the community. And I appreciate somebody who calls it like it is. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely not. But when you start trashing people, I have a difference. You know what I mean?
I'm the same way.
I burn bridges too, but I go directly to a source. I have burned bridges and I pissed people off, but I went directly to them on Instagram and said how I felt about them. So it's not like I just trashed somebody I don't know behind their back. I went.
No, I'm the same way. I've 3 YouTubers. I've literally texted and went right to their face about it because I had all of their cells and I literally went to their face and I told them exactly how I felt and we pretty much all blocked each other.
And people love that. That's what people love. It seems like people enjoy negativity. I forget, somebody said something today like negativity. There was a quote. I don't know. Maybe Jeff or Tim or Tony. I don't know who said it, but the negativity surrounding the Nightmare on Elm Street release and now the Paramount Scares box set. Tim and I were talking, and it's just like everybody's whining, and it's just like be happy it's getting a 4K. I get it. It's not the stuff you want and all that stuff, but it's like, does anybody ever have anything nice to say or good to say? Like, I'm grateful for the stuff behind me, but people are out here like, oh, the artwork sucks. It's got no slip. And I love slip covers, and so do you. But it's not going to stop me from buying.
Don't say me.
Well, you like.
I like throwing them.
I was like, no, we're going to make time to talk her ranks as well. Yeah, absolutely. Caprice, we got Tony saying hi to everybody. Hey, Miss Jess, lots of highs back and forth. Hi to Bonnie. We got Vinny in the chat saying, Vinny, the movie man says, hey, Bob. What's up, Vinny? Thank you, Bob. I had a great time, Nikki says. I am glad you had a good time. We got thank you, Bob. Vinicio says. Man, he needs to get back to doing some content. I hope he gets back around to it. It was really cool to see him post back on Instagram recently.
Yeah.
My Sunday show was no good. You won't find it, Joe. It's gone. Yeah, they took it down. Tony says, good to see those great people in the chat. Hi to you all. What's up, Holland, Fish, Draculina, and Mizzy? And hi, Tony. Okay, let's go ahead and just get started. You want to get started now?
Let's go.
All right. So if there's any spoilers, I'll put it up on the screen. I'm trying to look at your movies.
I'll let you know.
There's not two. Oh, one of them is you can't talk about without spoilers, and you know which one I'm talking about. So, but not too many. We'll try to avoid spoilers. No. We'll let it know if we put it on the screen. So go ahead and tell me your number 10. I got them ranked right here, so they're already pulled up. But as you tell me number 10, I'll have to find it on the list.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Number 10 is Brittany Runs a Marathon.
All right. Brittany Runs a Marathon right here. So it's on Amazon Prime if anybody wants to watch. It should be. It's an Amazon original. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
I did not like that. Let me phrase that. I like the story of that movie. My biggest issue, and it's something I kind of spoiled to you, I cannot stand that actress. She reminds me a lot of, right? Yeah, Jillian Bell. She reminds me a lot of Amy Schumer. And whenever she was on screen, I just wanted to punch her. I just I just did not like her at all. So if if it was casted differently, I probably would have liked it more because I like the story behind it. I like it's, somebody that's overweight and, has a bunch of health issues and they're trying to better their life. And I like the story behind it. I just went just her voice, everything just ruined it for me. And it was one of the first movies I watched, and the whole time I'm just like, oh man, is this thing over yet? But I liked the story on it. I thought, the whole premise of the movie was really good, and the message that it was trying to give, just the casting of it is what ruined it for me.
Hey, you know what, man? Um, I totally get it because, and I would never attack you for that. Um, Dude, all it takes is an actor to ruin a movie for somebody. And I didn't know that you hated her, but I completely get it because I'm actually not the biggest fan of her either until I watched this movie. But not only that, I can totally understand and appreciate the similarities between her and Amy Schumer. And I'm not a big Amy Schumer fan either.
I've seen Amy Schumer. I can't remember her from anything else. I didn't even really know who she was. But right when she came up on screen and I started watching her and her mannerisms and how she acted and everything, Amy Schumer came right to my head, and right there it just soured me going on through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But
No,
like I said,
totally understand. Yeah. Okay,
but
so for me, I love this movie. I watched it in theaters. It was very limited because it was an Amazon Prime movie, but I went to go see it in theaters. As somebody who runs marathons or has ran marathons, hasn't in a while, I appreciated it, right? Never
mhm,
struggled with weight the way she did necessarily. But there's a scene in the movie where she starts to become obsessed with the scale. And
yeah,
some people who believe, some trainers who believe in even weighing in every day, and I can see that. Some people believe that it'll show you, oh, that weight fluctuates, which it absolutely does.
yeah,
I try to preach not to be obsessed with the scale because it can be very discouraging. You could
yeah,
see it and be like, I just lost 2 pounds. I went up 2 pounds. It's like so many things. Water weight, when a woman's on her period, that could make a difference. How much you just recently ate, water in general. I mean, there's 1,000 different things that fluctuate with that. The
and
one thing I didn't necessarily like about her character is, and she changes throughout the movie, but and I know people like this, and I know it's how some people handle situations, but when people are overweight, severely overweight, they make a joke of it. And
mhm,
so you like she tries to make a joke of her weight. And you remember the
yeah,
scene in the beginning with her doctor, and he's like,
yeah,
and she's like, "What's BMI?" And she's just making a joke. She's wearing her robe the wrong way or
yeah,
And so I feel like some people make a joke of situations, and I get it. You got to make lightheartedness of dark situations, but her situation isn't a joke. She struggles with the alcohol. He tells her,
yeah,
"Hey, your kidneys are in like whatever it is." I can't remember if she was in liver failure or whatever, but he tells her, "You need to change your health." Like
yeah. That, and I think she was dealing with high blood pressure, and I think like pre-diabetes because of
the weight
her
and her
the
drink,
weight, the
and
weight, the weight,
yeah,
and the drinking, and how much
yeah,
food she was eating.
sedentary lifestyle, right? And it's not that we're out here calling people fat. That's not even what it's about. I tell people this, like, for me it's about, hey, I care about you, and if you continue to live the way that you are, it's not a healthy life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and I get that that sounds real shitty, but I could even be more harsh about the way I'm saying it even. And
Hmm.
I've had conversations with people about this stuff, and there's a fine line to it, but I
Yeah.
I
And
yeah.
I honestly, what I was going to say earlier was, to me, even the scale thing, I don't think people should really look at it as an end all be all, because even when you start trying to lose weight and if you start exercising and everything else and you build muscle mass, muscle weighs more than fat. So it comes down to how you l- perceive yourself and how you look at yourself over what it actually shows on the scale.
So
Because
the funny thing about muscle weighing more than fat, we were in school and we learned this. Muscle actually doesn't weigh more than fat, because if you put okay, let's say you put this notebook on a scale, right? And
Uh,
then put something that weighs the same as this notebook, but like my phone, right? It's
yeah,
actually smaller, but it weighs more than the notebook. And so my point is, and we learned this because it was actually a myth buster that muscle weighs more than fat. It's just that fat is much wider. Muscle is dense, fat is huge. It's spongy. It's, you know what I mean? It soaks it up
yeah,
and everything like that. So when you look at a human body and you actually look like what fat looks like, it's really gross. And
yeah,
I completely agree with what you're saying, though, in the sense, in the fact that don't always get caught up in a scale, because when you start losing inches in the waist, I like me, I'm trying to actually lose weight because I'm not happy with where I'm at. I can look at myself and say, hey, this isn't okay. We need to do something about it. And I've
hmm
let myself go, and then I lost clients, and then I stopped training. And so um I look at myself though, and I'm like, I don't care so much about the scale. Do I want to lose weight? Yes. I want to lose inches in my waist. I don't like
yeah,
the way I look when I take my shirt off. And 2 years ago, I was absolutely fine with that. Today, I'm not. But I also know when I get to that point, like, hey, I got to do something about this.
yeah.
But it's a
Agreed.
great. I really like the movie. So it sounds like without the cast, the better casting, you would have liked it more.
Yeah, if the casting was better in that movie, I probably would have gave it. It probably would have made it up to like a 2.5 or a 3. Because,
Okay,
like I said,
what was
I
your
give it a
score?
1.5.
Okay, so definitely not a successful recommendation.
No,
And I'm curious to see how many I will be. I, After I rewatched some of the movies on this list, I was like, I don't know if Joe's gonna like that. But that wasn't my number 10, so we'll see how it goes when I keep moving up here on the next ones. But I'm gonna catch up with the chat if that's okay with you.
go for it.
Okay.
I got all night.
Adrian says hello, everyone. Hi, Emmett. We've got Emmett in the chat. Draculina. So Capri says, "What's up, Benicio? What's up, my man?" Amy Schumer. We know Tony's not a fan of her. Tony P. No, I like Jillian Bell. Workaholics. Laughing out loud. She was in 22 Jump Street. Yep. Yes, Helen loved Workaholics. Damn, Joe. Now I can't unsee that Amy Schumer comparison. Yo, what's up, everyone? Yes, the entire time I can't stand her, but he can appreciate the message. Yeah, we
Yeah.
got Mel in the chat. What's up, everyone? Yo, Adrian, you got to tell me when you bounce. Laugh out loud. Just kidding. Yes, Miz, I am fully torqued. Hey, Mel, there you are again. Mel just saying hi to everybody. Everybody's saying hi to Mel. We've got Guy in the chat saying, hey there, everyone. Please hit the like button for Bob. Reaching 2K subs, it will alert others to show up for this. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Guy. We've got just hi, Mel. Hey, Caveman. Fish says, hey, Melly Mel at My Killer Podcast. Hey, Adrian. Hi, Fish. We've got Grant in the chat. What is up, Grant? Grant says, I'm on
How are you
time.
doing, Grant?
In the chat. Movie
And Mel.
Greetings, cinematic royalties. Tom Cruise says, what did I just walk into? Minnie, Momoa, and Statham over here. I'll take the Jason Statham comparison. Thanks, Tom Cruise. All this fat talk is making me reconsider joining the chat now, Johnny says. Prince says, sorry, I'm fashionably late. Jane Doe is laughing. I'll take the comparison to Jason Statham. Are you kidding me? You need to use the Pilates movie Bob gave you. Need the Pilates wheel or whatever it's called. My Killer Podcast says, what's up, John Doe? Whoop, whoop. And that is everything. So I'm caught up with the chat. Did you want to move on to number 9, or did you have anything else you want to kind of closing thoughts or anything you wanted to say? I really like that it's a true story. Everybody in the chat. There's good character development, and I would recommend this if you're a fan of sports, or biopics. I guess you could anything. Story is a biopic, right?
Yes.
It's a good message. It's a really good message. And for somebody, the thing that was super relatable to me is, you remember when she starts, every runner has those moments. You're like, what the hell am I doing out here? You start and you get down a block and you're like, no, I can't do this.
You're dying. Yeah.
I can give is when you start something and you want to quit, see if you could go another block. And then if you could go another block, see if you could go another one after that, and keep going until you get to that point. You're like, I can't. But I always try to tell myself when I want to quit, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to that stop sign. And I get there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to that stoplight now, and I'll get there and I'll keep going. So sometimes,
yeah. Like I said, I thought it had a great message. there was a lot I liked about the film, and it's it's sad that one actress is what ruined it for me.
No, I get that. I hate Danny McBride, so I can understand it. I also don't
Hmm.
like who the chick from Miss Bala. Is it Genesis? Not Genesis Rodriguez. It's something else. But yeah, Tony.
I know who it is. I own that movie. I've been
Jane
to
the
it.
Virgin. I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
You're looking more human than human tonight. We've got a nice long chat here. Uh, Galatian is fat versus density of muscle. If the volume of fat muscle is the same volume, muscle will weigh more than fat. To equalize the fat physical weight, the fat would have to have more volume. Just FYI. So yeah, I mean it's a volume thing when it comes to fat.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's see here. Let me pull up number 9. There was a lot of when I was in school for personal training. It was really curious. It was interesting because there was a whole thing we did in one of the classes where it was Mythbusters he did, and so he would put stuff
Hmm.
like that on the screen. And oh, another one was if you eat late, does it make you gain more? And it was actually a Mythbuster that no, eating late doesn't make you gain more. It's that when you eat late, usually you go to sleep afterwards, so you're not really burning those calories.
Burning it off. Correct.
Exactly. So we all answered yes because we all thought it. So it was cool to hear some of these Mythbusters that you think are the truth, and it's this essentially the same meaning, but the going to sleep late is not the reason you gain weight. It's that you usually go to sleep afterwards.
Yeah,
So
and you're not burning all the food that you just ate.
exactly, you're not exercising, you're not physically active. I mean, you lose calories when you sleep, but not that kind of.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 9. You want to get into it?
Yeah, let's go for it. Number 9 is stop loss.
Okay. Right here. Stop loss. Got it right there.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody in the
This
chat seen this? Jump in. Military movie. Kind of
yeah,
propaganda.
I thought it was a good movie. It had Ryan Phillippe that I like, Channing Tatum, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Timothy Oliphant, and the guy from Finding Forrester.
And then Abby
I
Cornish as well.
Yeah, I really like the movie. It's pretty much about Channing Tatum and Ryan Phillippe that they went to the military. They came out of the military and they were finishing their tour, and they're getting a stop loss that they actually have to go back, and just pretty much everything that happens after that. I like the story. The only part I didn't like about it, it was kind of slow in spots. There was a lot of slow spots in it. There wasn't really a lot going on because the film is pretty much mostly Ryan Phillippe and the girl that was on the poster. And I I didn't care for the ending of the film.
Yeah, you said you hated
Without
the ending of one of them, so I was curious which
Yeah,
one.
this was the one this was there was two films that I didn't really like the ending, but this one bothered me the most. And without I don't want to this is a spoiler thing.
Okay, let me put it on the screen. I'm kind of writing notes. All right. Spoilers, spoiler alert. I'll take it off the screen when we're done. Go ahead and dive
Yeah,
into it.
but the spoiler part that I didn't like was, throughout the whole movie, he's pretty much trying not to go back and go in AWOL. And then at the end of the film, Channing Tatum is trying to get him back, and he doesn't want to go back. And he pays. He has the girl sell her car so he could take off to Canada and get new identity and everything. But then he ends up going back to Texas for the funeral, and then decides I'm going to go to Mexico instead. He's right at the border, and then like that, he just decides, oh, I'm going to go back to the military with Channing Tatum. No real explanation why he decided to, and he acted like it was no big deal when the whole movie he fought so against it. And it kind of bothered me because it didn't really explain, like, even with Channing Tatum trying to get him back to go into the military, he still didn't want to do it. He still wanted to fight it. And even talking to his family after, his family was trying to help him leave. But then right when he's at the Mexican border and they're telling him to go, he's just like, it just changes scenes, and he's getting on the bus in his military fatigues sitting next to Channing Tatum and, bumps his gun like, "Hey, buddy, I'm right here. Don't be mad at me anymore." And then, he leaves, and I'm just like, I thought it was kind of a cop out of an ending.
I'm going to tell you. So I understand, and I figured this could be the one when you told me you didn't like the ending to a movie. I'll
Yep.
tell you this about the ending. I love the score that's playing over that scene, but for me, the ending of that came down to, and you hear his quote he gives, the dialogue, the monologue he says, and he's
Yep.
like, "This war is never going to be over." It's like,
True.
and he realizes if he runs away to Canada, though, he's leaving his family behind. He's got nothing. And the guy tells him, the guy, the lawyer or whatever that gives him
Yeah.
he knows that if I leave, I'm leaving everything behind. I'm starting over, and not in a good way. You're starting over in Canada with nothing. Not to
Mm-hmm.
speak crap about Canadians or anything like that at all, right? I don't live in Canada. I've never been. But my point is that you're leaving to another country where you can't come back. And
Yeah.
so
You're gone.
I think that's what it's about for him is he's like, I can't leave. I can't leave everything behind. I can't. It's not that you can't start over, but you can't leave. It's just like war's never going to be behind me. So for me, that's what I took from it. But I respect your opinion and I appreciate you giving it.
Yeah, because even with what he said, that when he was saying that the war is never going to end, and you know, but even then, one of the things that him going to Canada, I looked at it as, even with him leaving, and the guy said, you pretty much got to, go to Canada and just start over with nothing. I looked at it as he can't really come back to the U.S. But I looked at it as, his family could fly to Canada and go see him there. Or so I looked at it as it wasn't a complete loss.
Would you, for me, I could never do it. I would have to go back because I could never just, I guess I don't know. I could never just, I don't think I could ever just leave and be like, okay, I'm never going to see my niece or nephew again, or unless they come out
Yeah.
and visit me and I got to start over and now get a job out there and all this stuff. I don't know. It just, I really do love that movie. For me, it used to be a when I saw it in theaters, like that was one of my favorite movies. It's also actually funny thing is that's one of my favorite trailers ever made.
Mm-hmm.
You ever look
It's
at
a great
trailers?
trailer.
Yeah, it's a really good trailer. But I love that movie. I love military movies and all that stuff. So Holland Oates probably wouldn't like this because he's not a big fan of military movies. But for me, I love Ryan Phillippe. I love that
Yeah.
scene where, it's just, you see this movie kind of shows you too what I appreciate movies like this, where they show you a little bit what the military and what war does to people, like Joseph
Yeah.
Gordon-Levitt in the movie.
I was ready to say, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I called it. I called it before when he broke right when he broke the window. I said, "Oh, he's going to break the window, and this is what's going to happen." And I said it to Marie. And then when they were at the ranch, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the cabin," I told Marie, I said, "This is what he's going to do." And she goes, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh yeah,"
Yeah.
because you could see the signs. You know what I mean? If with people in that situation, sometimes, a lot of times, people that are in that situation or been in that situation, a lot of times can see it. So I can see the path that he was going down, and it wasn't a good, with everything that he lost and all that. You could see the path he was going, and it wasn't down a good path.
Yeah.
And none of his friends saw it because he was good at hiding it,
Yeah.
and he masked it a lot with his drinking.
I get it. Yeah. No, and that's what I appreciate about movies like this. I don't like when movies glamorize or romanticize things like war, addiction. It could be anything, right? I don't like when movies or directors or writers choose to glamorize or romanticize it. And it's like, because these
Mm-hmm.
things aren't pretty. War is not pretty, it's not.
No.
Yeah. So, hey there, and everyone else, anyone else I missed. I don't hate every actor, but James Corden is the guy I would punch. Grant says, look at that. Grant wants to punch somebody. We've got Eli in the chat saying, "Hey, Fish, spoilers should be noted as I absolutely did. How genius of me." Nice pick, Bob. A Paramount title I need to watch. Stop Loss is on my watch list. Nice, Grant. That's the big thing for these lists, too. Look, it's Hardcore Grant. Is I want to not only recommend movies, and kind of like I
You can
like
take
to
the
take
spoilers
shots.
off.
Yeah. Let me take that off. I like to take shots at recommending movies that spoilers are off, that movies that people might not have seen. So in the chat, I really appreciate it when people from the streams go back and end up watching a movie like Marrowbone, for example. I
Yeah,
think it's a lot of fun. So it
and
just
that's what.
it makes me
Uh,
feel like I'm actually doing something worthwhile here. You know what I mean? Like they're
yeah,
making
because even though the first two movies that we talked about, it's like they weren't really for me, but from us talking about it, maybe somebody that likes that style movie, like this or like I correlate this movie a lot with like American Sniper. Somebody that likes that style movie maybe will like a Stop Loss,
okay.
and we'll check it out.
Yeah, and
So
it's
I
slow. I
think,
agree, it's slow, and that's why when people say Bob doesn't like slow movies, it's like I next week all 10 movies on Mizzy list are slow.
I like slow movies. I like dialogue heavy movies.
That's when I get pissed is when people say you don't like slow movies. It's like, no, listen, slow is subjective. To me, something that's slow, it has to grip you anyways. You have to like the cast, maybe the writing, whatever it might be, the character development. If you hate every character in a movie and it's slow, you're probably not going to enjoy the movie.
Yeah,
It's slow is subjective, man. People don't understand that. Like, no, I don't
yeah,
hate slow movies. I hate slow movies that bore me. And to
yeah,
you, that movie might have been incredibly entertaining. To me, it was boring or something. It's like
yeah,
something that was slow, but I don't think it was slow. You might think, oh my God, that was the most boring thing in the world. So not every two people are the same. We got
no,
Mrs. Kane in the chat, and Adrian says, looks like Bob and Joe are in the same room with all the Blu-ray collectors together, collections. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
he's sitting next to me. Yeah, I was gonna say, uh, you know, like I said, there's parts of the movie that isn't slow because there's things that go on, but there are pockets that are kind of slow that I felt like nothing really. It kind of meandered, like when they were driving and they decided, oh, let's go to the. She decides to get out of the car and go to the bar and start doing shots, and then they're doing shots together, and just certain scenes like that. I just felt like there was no point to him really in the movie. So I consider that kind of like a slow spot of it's kind of meandering and not really adding to the story of the film.
No, I get it. I get it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and catch up the rest here. There are no slow movies, just slow people, Johnny says. And yes, ma'am, trying
Mm-hmm.
to keep an eye on Johnny to make sure he behaves. April's got her hands full. And yes, it's on Paramount Plus. Caveman and Grant mentioned that it is on Paramount Plus.
Yep.
Like I said, the last one should be on Amazon Prime. So if you want to watch it, all right, number 8.
Number 8, and here's the fun. I'm actually going to show it because the funny thing is your list. I only owned one of the movies. Literally, I had to stream all of them, and some I bought, some I streamed on Amazon Prime. This movie said it was on Amazon Prime, and when I clicked on it, I couldn't find it on Amazon Prime. I checked it on my phone, and it says on Amazon Prime, but not available in your area. That's the first time I ever saw that. The only way I could get it was through Apple TV. So I'm like, hey, Marie, let's go to Bull Moose on Sunday. Maybe I'll find it there. And they had one copy of the movie on DVD. So I bought it on Sunday at Bull Moose to watch it.
Oh, so
And it
this is
was
the one you owned. Okay, gotcha.
I
Number
Hope You
8.
Serve Beer in Hell.
Number 8. I hope they serve beer in hell. This was hard to get a picture for it. That actually was the right
Yeah.
thing. Tony,
I
don't think Tony's in the chat anymore. So this is the one that Tony would not approve of.
Tony would not approve of this film.
No, not at all. So I hope they no.
I got lucky because I actually found it on a
What would you
website
give
called.
Stop Loss? Give me your ratings on all these.
Oh,
movies.
sorry. Stop Loss was 1.5.
So 2 1.5s to start. Okay.
Yep.
So I failed you on 2 so far. What did you give
On
this
2.
one?
3 stars.
Okay, so from here on up,
It's a jump. You were scraping the bottom with your plane, but after that, it took off.
Okay, So for me, if I give something 3 stars, it's successful. So anything
Yeah.
above 3 is like a successful recommendation.
Yeah. This,
Okay.
like I said, I bought it for $3.97 at Bull Moose, and it's actually going to make the show.
Nice. Yeah. So 3 stars. So you like this one? All right. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and
Now,
talk about it.
this movie is pretty much about three friends that one of them's getting married, and they decide they're going to have a bachelor party, and there's a lot that, and as I say, the craziness ensues. The thing about this, it has one of the guys is the kid from Clock Stopper that's in it, and he's in Hackers. And then it has Bridget the Midget that I loved, and it had Tracy Lords in it as well. But this movie reminded me of like a cheaper version of American Pie. It was like an American Pie kind of 2 and 3 kind of put together.
Maybe American Wedding because they're getting married.
Yeah, but it had some things reminded me of American Pie, just with the actor that kind of was like the Stifler of the group.
The main actor.
The main actor. The one not getting married. The blonde.
Who absolutely cracks me up.
Yeah.
So the reason this movie is not for women, by the way, at all.
No.
It is a very sexist movie. He's a womanizer. He's a kind of a piece of shit who doesn't really have a whole lot of character or arc.
And has literally no filter whatsoever throughout this movie.
Got zero filter. But
no filter.
The movie to me was hilarious, and I just love that I love the no filter. He's not. Yeah. He's like, if I offend you, I don't give a fuck. And in some of the stuff, he's pretty sexist, but some of the stuff he actually makes sense of.
I was gonna say he is what everybody. I looked at it as he is what everybody wants to be if they wouldn't want to get canceled.
Yeah, and he's mean. He's very
because
mean,
yeah, some of it
so much because
some of it is mean. Some of it is like, I kind of agree with you, but it's not something that you would actually say in public to somebody without getting canceled or punched in the face. But it's like,
remember what he says to the big girl in the bar?
Yes,
dude, that was
he went off on her.
That was so
that or the girl at the bachelorette party.
Oh wow, yeah, no, at the bar.
Oh yeah, that girl.
That was
and when the people in the bachelorette party were like chuckling at him at first, and then they're like, "Oh, he's kind of cute," even though he was being mean to that one girl. Yeah. But as it went on, he just progressively got worse until they all turned on him.
Yeah, they were like, "You're kind of an asshole," and he's like, "No, I'm just like, he was brutal, even to the stripper."
Yeah. To me, the guy
he's a shit friend too.
Yeah, he is a shit friend. Like I said, he reminds me of
the movie's based on a true story. It's based on a book, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wrote a book.
Yeah. And to me, I really liked him. The guy from Clock Stopper and Hackers, I actually loved his dialogue. I thought he was really witty. I loved the way he talked.
There's only 3. Which one is it? The one that
the brunette,
Jesse Bradford from Bring It On.
Yeah, from Bring It On. He's in Clock Stopper, and he's in the movie Hackers.
Okay, because I don't remember Hackers or Clock Stopper. I didn't see either one. So okay, so you liked his dialogue. He's the funniest one to me.
Yeah, I liked his dialogue. I liked his quick wit, and he talks very intellectual without really not knowing a lot. Just the way he talked, he sounded like he was very smart. And I was just like, if I had to pick a character, he's the character I would love to be like. I just thought his quick wit and the way he articulated his sentences really made me laugh. And me, I'm not a comedy guy. I'm more of an 80s comedy guy, and this is more like an 80s comedy. Most comedies now, I'll smirk, I'll go, that's kind of clever. But this movie, literally, I was smiling the whole time because it was just like between both of them going back and forth, and the whole dialogue with um that guy and the stripper, and then his friends are like, "No, go back, talk to him." You know, well,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't have to dance or anything. Just keep on
yeah.
busting on him
By the way,
because
she's gorgeous. That stripper that was in it. That yeah, she was. Yeah, I liked her a
yeah.
lot.
But and then without spoiling anything, but it's like when you come to find out why the blonde actually went to that strip joint and everything that happened, it's like it brings it back to the beginning of the movie when he was talking with the teacher and everything, and it's just like, and then Bridget the midget shows up, and I'm
Bro,
just like,
can we talk about the beginning when he's having sex with the deaf chick? This movie opens with him having sex with the deaf chick from
yeah,
behind, and
yeah,
it's in the cops break in and grab him, and he's
break
still
in,
taking her. And later on in the movie, the cops are yelling at her. They think she's being raped, and she goes, "I'm fucking deaf, you idiot!" And she's
yeah,
but it's so offensive. It's so
it
offensive.
is so offensive.
And but later on in the movie, when he says I had like what he says to his friend, and he's like, "Holy shit, you're 2/3 of the way to a Helen Keller."
Yeah, yeah, and then towards the end of the movie, he sees a blind girl and he's like, "Oh wait, I gotta get out of here," and he
Yes,
takes off going to follow her, and I just started laughing.
so bad, dude. This is probably to me the most offensive movie I've ever seen. I'll
This,
always,
yeah,
I just,
it is. I was
especially
gonna say,
for women, like that's why I
yeah,
would never recommend it. And some women might like it, who knows? But it
yeah.
is, it's very offensive to everybody. He's not just offensive to women. He's offends everybody in this movie. But can we talk about the scene where he shits himself?
I was gonna say that. I don't know if you want to put a spoiler to this because
I
it's
I
not really a
should put
spoiler.
spoilers up for this. I should. If you're a male who likes anything raunchy, you need to watch this movie. And if you're not
Yeah,
PC, like politically correct, like Adam, Mizzy, I've showed this movie to Mizzy. I saw Adam's comment, said it's okay in parts. It has its
yeah,
moments. But yeah, they're the type of people I would recommend this to, not a Tony. But yeah, spoilers,
no,
pooping himself.
yeah. When that scene, I was like, "Oh my god, they're having a bridesmaid moment." And right when that happened, and because that when they squirt when the girl, the fat girl, squirted the Visine in the beer, I'm like, I didn't know what that did. I'm like, what the hell does that do? I don't get it. You know what I mean? And then when Tracy Lords takes the first swig, I'm like, oh, we're gonna find out what's gonna happen now.
Isn't she a
And
porn
then
star?
yeah, Tracy Lords, her notoriety is she back in the early '80s, she got into porn with a fake ID at 15 years old and did a bunch of porn. She was in magazines, all underage. She, at 18 years old, she started her own production company. She only released one movie called Tracy Lords I Love You under her own production company that she owned. And then she came out that she was underage when she did everything else. So everything that she ever did had to get scrapped because it was child porn. And the only movie that ever survived is the only movie that she actually owned all the rights and masters to. So
Gee.
that movie went completely nuts and went for a lot of money. I used to actually have a VHS copy of it, but I left it when I got divorced. But um, she made a ton of money off of that movie, and she used that notoriety to try to break into films after.
But talking about him back onto the topic, because you're talking about child porn now. You're
Yeah,
how
we're
about
getting off of that.
yeah, him shitting himself though. The that was
That I roared
the camera scene where he sits on the toilet. It was
on the
cracking me
toilet.
up. The camera's is cracking up, and then he throws his socks and they're all wet.
Yeah, I started laughing when he talked to the Spanish lady. He's like asking where the bathroom is, and when he's holding his ass and he's running, you can see it getting browner and browner and browner. And I'm just like, oh no. And then right after that is the camera scene from inside the toilet. I lost it. I was
But
roaring.
speaking of spoilers, he goes to his friend's. wedding to give a best man speech. This is a major spoiler of the movie. It's the whole point of the movie. And you think, okay, here's his character arc, right? His redemption. And then he says, I paid the maid to do it, the cleaning lady.
Yeah.
So he never at any point in the movie, you talk about like coming of age movies, his character legit though never has a redemption arc. And then he ends up obviously leaving the wedding to go have sex with a blind girl. So
Yeah, because during the speech, he said, he kind of mentioned like he cleaned it, and everybody, that he told during the speech thought maybe he cleaned it, but then after when he was talking to his two friends by the bar,
he's like, y'all know
they asked him, they said, "Do you clean?" He goes, "Helen, I paid her. I'm not gonna clean that." He goes, he threw her like a couple $100 to clean it herself.
I'm going to catch up with the chat here. I'm going to take spoilers off the screen. The heads up here. Okay, let's see here. A lot of people talking about this one that have seen it. So let me start with this one. It says, thank God Uncle Tony's not here, Princess. That movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I agree, Nicholas. I agree. Laugh a lot of, hey, Bob introduced me to I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. It's raunchy but funny. Huge change from him before he did The Resident. The Resident's probably like top 3 favorite TV shows of all time for me. I absolutely love that show, Nicholas. I'm a big fan of that show. Eli says, what's up, Jeff? It has its moments, Adam says. Event, everyone. What's up, Movie Hunter? We got Movie Hunter in the chat. Laugh aloud, Adam. He's also in Swim Fan, which Bob is in love with. Don't forget, Bring It On also, Johnny. What is Dakota Johnson in Swim Fan? No, she's not. Damn, I forgot about that one, Mizzy. Movie Hunter. I would have liked Dakota Johnson in Swim Fan. My goodness. Spoiler, not spoiler. I don't think I gave this 5 stars. Okay, yeah, we'll see what happens. I do have this predicted as Marie's number 10 right here. I literally have it written down. But
I won't tell you.
Okay, we'll see. Plenty of fun language, TNA, Marie says. Tom says, Joe watched this one along with Lights Off. I hope they serve Bear and Hells on YouTube. I would post the link, but I have to have it Runch to post to chat. Oh, you have to post the link? You have to have a wrench? Interesting. Well,
yeah, you can't post links in the chat.
Oh, okay. Well, since she's deaf, you might not need put spoilers up. LOL. Bob's walking canceled line. Not wrong. He's jump roping it, busy. Laugh about Sophie is Caprice. Yes, yes, Bob. I laughed at that part. The shit. The scene in a drink. It happened the dinner scene in Wedding Crashers too. Yeah. I heard that's a myth. That's not real though. But I don't know.
I don't know neither.
I did love the poop, Adam says. Joe knows a lot about Tracy Lords. He does. Jesus, did he just say that he owned a VHS tape of Tracy Lords porn?
I did.
Porn, he said, too. It was
No, she was 18 when she did it. It was the only one she owned.
Oh, okay.
I cut it out of a Hustler magazine and bought it.
Okay, all right. At least it was of age. Adam says I may have come across some of her early work myself. Some love that show. I hated that Fox canceled it. I loved it, dude. I was a huge fan, Nicholas. We could talk about that all day on Instagram if you want. Fucking love that show. You want to dive into number 7?
Yep.
I want people to watch this to be curious what they would think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think for a girl, I think the only one that probably wouldn't be offended would be Ashley.
Ashley, or maybe Caprice would.
Yeah.
This one, but I was thinking Ashley too.
Yeah.
Ashley's like not easily offended by, and she's not PC at all. You know what I'm saying?
No. Yeah. So, that's why I would think that Ashley would like it.
And she's got no filter.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Which I appreciate. I appreciate people with no filter that are just like, fuck it. Holland Oates says mail away porn. Laugh out old school Holland. Yeah, the only 2 people, Caprice and Ashley. Nobody else. I'm not recommending that to any other women out there. No, because Caprice likes raunchy comedies too. So Wedding Crashers is like one of her favorite comedies. So I think she might enjoy that one. Yeah. Gotta be honest, April would probably love it as well.
Yeah. To me,
I'm not recommending this to your wife, though, Johnny. She could end up smacking the hell out of me the next time she sees me if I recommended this too. But she might. She lives with Johnny. She's married to Johnny. She's been known him for how long? She could.
Yeah, she could probably watch it.
Yeah, yeah. Mizzy, what do you think? Ashley, maybe April, maybe Caprice.
Mm,
Okay, all right. Moving on to number 7. Did you want to move on?
yeah, let's go. The only other movie that I own from the list, Lean on Pete.
Okay, number 7. Lean on Pete, right here. All right, let's talk about it. Let's see where I got this.
Okay, Lean on Pete. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good story. Oh, and by the way, I gave that 3 stars as well.
Okay, Lean on Pete, 3 stars. Mrs. Caveman, I don't know her enough to recommend something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Mizzy says. All right. Lean on Pete, 3 stars. Got it.
Yep.
Okay, talk about it.
I thought it was a really good movie. I thought it was a really good story. It's an A24 film. It has it's about pretty much a father and son that pretty much live together, and they pretty much live in a roach infested place. His dad's, a drunk, no money. His son starts working for Steve Buscemi that has a horse, and you know starts trying to build something with him and have a place to stay. But I thought this movie was really good. I liked the dynamic with the son and Steve Buscemi and the girl from, what's her name? The girl from Kids. I really liked her.
It's slow as molasses, this movie, though. It is slow.
It's an A24. It's slow.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah, it is a slow burn. There's a lot of story going on, not a lot of dialogue in this movie. The one part that, and I'm gonna throw Marie under the bus on this one. The one part, because Marie saw it before me, she walks in the room, she goes, "Oh, did you get to this scene?" And it's like the biggest part of the movie. I'm like, no, I'm 15 minutes into it.
You're talking about the horse?
The horse, yeah. What happens with the horse?
Yeah. Don't even dive into it, but yeah.
I'm not even going to.
That's a major spoiler. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
But I really liked that. I thought it's, like I said,
Damn
like
you, Marie.
said.
Damn you, Marie.
It was a slow, it was a little bit of a slow film. Not a lot really goes on. Even when he gets to the end and he's going to where he's going and what he finds.
I think a lot was going on, though. It's such a journey. He goes through
hell. It reminds me a lot of the movie Wild that you just saw.
Okay.
Of kind of a journey kind of film of, trying to, of what happens at the beginning in his life with him and his dad and what happens with his dad. And then the journey that he goes, working with Steve Buscemi to what happens and the journey that he goes on after that, and then the characters that he meets along the way, we'll say, without spoiling a lot of the film, to get to that, his end journey. And even with the end journey, it's like when he talks to her, to the person at the end of the film, he's like, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to start doing this again and I want to start doing that again. And then the beginning of the movie pretty much starts as the same as the ending of him running.
I got it. I want to put up spoilers because I really want to dive into the ending, because this movie, for me, nobody's talking about in the chat because I don't think anybody's seen this except for Tony, and he's not here. But my friend recommended this ages ago to me, and I thought it was pretty slow. I didn't love it. I think it's incredible heart and incredible message, but the ending, man, I want to talk about it, so I'm going to put spoilers up.
Okay.
I want to talk about that ending.
I was trying to talk about it without spoiling anything.
Yeah, because major spoilers here, so I am going to dive into it. the ending where he goes into he goes into his aunt's room, talks to her, and he's like, if I go to jail, she's like, you're not going to go to jail, but yes, you would have a place to come back to. And he's
Yeah.
having that conversation with her, and she's letting him know, yeah, you finished school. And he's like, maybe I could play football. And she's like, yeah. And he knows he's got security. And I'm getting some goosebumps talking about it, but it's the ending where he goes for that jog, and now the song starts playing. And then look, it's that one song, like I Made It, you know what I mean? It's like a slow version of it or whatever.
Yeah.
And he looks up, and it's like, I made it. I made it. I went through hell.
He made it to where he had to go.
And that scene for me, it's he looks around, he stops, looks around, camera follows him, it pans with him, and it's just, and then it stops, and he looks up, and it's like, I got that, like, damn, I made it. Like, shit, I went through a lot to get here. Like,
he did. He went through a lot, because even like when the truck broke down and he met up with those guys, and I honestly thought something bad was going to happen there, because the way they were like, oh, you got a racehorse? Oh, let's go check it out. I'm like, they're going to mess with him and they're going to mess with the horse. That's what I thought.
Oh, okay.
And
I was thinking of the trailer scene with Steve Zahn. You know, he could have killed him with the crowbars. That could have
that tire iron,
That, I think that's what he meant by if I go to jail. I think that's what he was referring to.
I think it was that, and I think it was that he stole Steve Buscemi's truck, trailer, and horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think it could have been either or, because even with Steve Zahn, he wailed him good.
Yeah.
But I honestly thought it was more of the whole Steve Buscemi of what he did to him. But the ending was good, because, like I said, he finally found her, and he finally had a place he can call home. Because even I felt like when he was with his dad, he really didn't really have a home. He had no food in the house. It was roach infested. He had that one girl that came over and made the dinner for him one time, but his dad was never really around. His dad was a drunk. And, with everything that happened with his dad, he didn't have a stable household. That his dad, even when he left, he's like, oh, here's some money. And he gave him $5 and he goes, oh, hopefully you can make it work. Yeah. And, I felt bad for the kid, because he wanted to have a better life, and he really couldn't, because of the circumstances that he had with his dad. And then, when his dad died, and he decided, I'm going to try to find the one person that my dad dated that really is not a relation, not an aunt, nothing. It's pretty much an ex-girlfriend of his dad. And, he's hoping that somebody that, actually cared for him back then would actually take him in. You don't really know throughout the whole movie, because he never really talked to her until he saw her in the library.
Yeah. No, I absolutely. And I completely agree with what you said about he finally had a home.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's and I think, we talk about like job security, right? In life, right? And all that stuff. But I do think there is something that speaks volume to knowing that, hey, I'm secure here. I have a place to live, and I know she loves me, and she's not going to kick me out. And if I go to jail, I can come back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because he was even...
Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
I was going to say, because he was even worried, because when he talked to the bartender on the phone, he's like, oh, she just got married, and now she's working at the library. He was worried when he even went there that, her new husband wasn't going to accept him. And she's like, he's gone. He's out of the picture. And he kind of was, a big weight came off him, because you could see him at the table when he was eating breakfast, the pancakes, that like a weight came off of his shoulders. You could see it in his face, because he was worried that the guy wasn't going to accept him, because he was going into two people that had a bond. And, it's a kid that doesn't really belong to either one of them. I'm
going to take spoilers off the screen. I'm going to catch up with the chat here. April said she might have to watch that one, and Miss Caven said movies equal much. Chloe Savini is the name. Watch
Yes.
Pete for the second time doesn't hit it hard as hard on a rewatch, but can't unsee that one scene. Marie says
Hmm.
you were way more than 15 minutes in, Joe. I was being mom, and it was a while since it's seen. Forgive me. K-Man says would it be helpful if you put the title of the film while you're discussing the film? I could do that moving forward for sure. Like number, I can't put at the bottom the ranking because I don't know his ranking, obviously, but I could definitely do that. That would help for sure. I appreciate it. I could put that at the bottom moving forward for next streams. I appreciate that. I appreciate the feedback. Thank you very much, guy. I will try and do that for Mizzy's stream. I actually don't mind that idea because it's right at the small bottom of the screen. The only thing is when you put something at the bottom, it shrinks the boxes, but when there's only two people, that's not bad.
No. And sometimes you put in spoilers there, so it's just taking the title
Exactly.
off and putting
Yeah.
spoilers and then going back.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Number 6 it would be. Are you ready? Tony texted me. He said it's going to be a long night. He's still watching. He's trying to do some work in the background. But spoiler alert, one of the movies on your list is one of Tony's. And so I really wanted him to watch the stream because Basement Blues gave a 5-star to one of the movies on your list.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Think you know
guarantee
which
you I
one?
know which one. I guarantee you I know which one it is.
Is it coming up next? No.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Number 6. Let's see what it is.
Number 6 is The First Time.
Okay. All right. This one right here. People are probably like, oh my goodness, what is this? The First Time. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and as Bob knows, I love my. It's not really a rom-com. It's more of a
Teenage
rom.
romance.
Yeah, it's like a teenage romance kind of movie. But I gave this 3 stars as well, and it's pretty much. It reminds me. The beginning reminded me a lot of like Can't Hardly Wait of the guy from Maze Runner. I don't know what his name is. Somebody put
Dylan
it in the chat.
O'Brien. Dylan
Yeah,
O'Brien
Dylan
and
O'Brien.
Britt Robertson.
Yeah, and he's pretty much outside trying to read a speech because he wants to tell a girl how he feels about him. That's his best friend. And then he meets this girl in an alleyway.
Look at
And
Tony's comments. Bob and his romance movies. Look,
yeah,
I want to
I love my
interrupt.
romance.
I gotta say, for one, a lot of this list is knowing you. Okay, these are not movies I would recommend to most people. Okay, like this
Nope.
one for example. But I saw this movie when I was just like 20 years old. I had just graduated high school. It just came out, so I was at the perfect age to watch this because they're like 17 years old, 16 in this movie.
Yeah.
It's really relatable to when I was 20 years old. That's why I love this movie so much because it was so relatable for me at that age.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I do apologize for interrupting.
I was going to say, no, I'm fine. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, that whole thing, and then pretty much how their romance, starts to build and everything. I really enjoyed their dynamic together. I thought they really had good chemistry on screen. I really enjoyed the story about this film. One of my favorite lines in this movie was, I would win at Boggle, but I could be a professional, but I blew out my knee. And I just started laughing. It was right when they were in the bedroom, and they were talking about, oh, let's stop doing this and let's, play a game. And she's like, oh, let's do this. And he goes, oh, let's play ball. He goes, oh, I could be a professional boggle player if I never blew out my knee. And I just started laughing. For some reason, I don't know why that line got me, but I just chuckled when I heard that line. But like I said, I really enjoyed it. The dynamic with the girl and her parents was a little weird to me. Just how, just because I've never seen anybody that's like that. How open she was with her parents, of how she said, how they talked to her about the drinking in the room and this, that, and the other thing. and when she thought she blew it with him, and
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
that scene's good though. You know what?
it's
So
good.
for
I'm not
me,
saying it was bad.
so for me, and this is you're we're different in this aspect as far as family history and stories goes. For me and my parents, like especially my dad though, like my goodness, my dad tells me everything, and when I was younger I would tell him everything too. And my mom and like my sisters, it's a pretty open family too. We don't really sugarcoat things. We're very
Hmm.
upfront, and if we want to be offensive we will as well. So
Yeah,
they like that dynamic because that would maybe it wasn't me when I was in high school, but like I think I could relate to just being pretty open with my parents.
yeah. With me, Phil, like I said, to me, it's kind of weird just because I didn't have that dynamic because I didn't have parents. A lot of times when I see movies like that or that have like a real like big family presence, a lot of times it's just like when I look at it, it's just I get that like I missed out kind of thing. So
Mm,
sometimes films like that I enjoy a lot because sometimes I feel like I just missed out on having a family dynamic. So sometimes because with me with pretty much any movie, the movies that I really enjoy is any movie that I can put myself in or something that I'm missing in my life. Those are the films that like hit me the most, and movies that will usually hit a 4 or 5 star with me. So,
mm,
like I said, I really enjoyed that. I thought the film was really good. I liked the ending of the film with pretty much everything that goes on with that, without again spoiling it. It's
mhm.
pretty much like you said. It's pretty much like a YA kind of love story kind of film. It's a lot like I Can't Hardly Wait or like the movie After or
Oh, I
something
don't
like.
like After though.
I
So
know you
don't.
don't like After. I love the After films.
Oh my goodness. Okay, don't compare them to After. Insulting.
I thought you would like the After films with the
I
kid that's a
didn't mind the
drunk.
first. It was okay. I didn't see the sequels, so yeah. I also didn't
I'm
like
waiting.
Sabrina, and you thought I'd like that.
Which one?
Sabrina.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So you liked it. 3 stars, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Three
All right.
stars.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites from when I was that age. It was relatable. And the whole like losing your virginity. So what I really like about this movie is it's really like yeah. So it takes place over the course of a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but it's about two teenagers kind of losing their virginity, and I like movies that don't paint once again don't glamorize or romanticize certain things. And sex isn't always beautiful, especially your first time. It's not always
No.
what you see in movies or something. So I appreciate
Hmm.
movies like The Spectacular Now, The First Time, where they paint sex as an awkward thing, especially when it's
Yeah.
both your first times. And so for
Hmm.
me, I lost my virginity right around the same time, and it was awkward. It was very, very weird. You know what I mean? It was not,
Yeah.
it was an awkward moment. And so I appreciate movies that paint virginity and losing it and stuff like that out to be sometimes an awkward moment. Even somebody who's had sex 1,000 times, depending on who you're having sex with for the first time, if you love the person or not, it could be a nerve wracking moment.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say I was 10 and a half when I did, and I was a mess.
Ten
I
and a half,
almost.
Joe. What?
Oh yeah. I
Joe,
was
what
10 and a half.
happened?
Oh
What?
yeah. It
Don't
was
tell me it was
my
a 40
my
year old woman either.
no my
You must have changed
my
his hair.
grandmother owned my grandmother owned a 3 family house in Worcester, Massachusetts, and we lived on the first floor. There was a girl that lived on the second floor. Her name was Juanita Rivera,
She sounds
and
like a house, like a
I
maid.
was I was 10 and a half years old and she was 12, and we found her dad's porn stash and she put in a VCR tape, and then some guy did um
Ten and a
what do you
half.
call it, the what do you call it, the Buffalo Bill, that he did the tuck but then he did the pop out, and I thought it was funny, and we both started chuckling. We were watching the movie, and we just decided to reenact what was going on the screen, and we didn't know what was going on. So
Ken,
technically, we both really didn't know what we were doing, but we were just trying to copy what was going on the screen because we thought it was funny, and we were
I
both
really
chuckling.
hope that Basement Blues commented on the 10.5 comment. Tony
Oh
met his
yeah,
wife when he was like 9 years old.
wow, yeah, I remember him saying that.
He's known his wife since he was about 9. But
Yeah,
10.5, geez. I thought you
ten
were
and a
going to say
half.
Tracy Lords, but no, it wasn't her.
No,
Oh
no,
my goodness. Oh wow. Oh Lord. I picked up this one, have to watch it. I think Nicholas, you would like it. The trailer makes
yeah,
this movie look great. It's not bad. I
it is
watched
a good movie.
so Mizzy says, yeah. I told Mizzy to check it out. The first time on Tubi is just FYI. Yep. Ain't nothing wrong with rom-com movies as long as that fucking troll Dakota Johnson doesn't appear. Johnny, you're canceled. She is your sweetheart, Johnny. Johnny Dakota's sitting in a tree. I don't approve of that either. Damn, Joe, laugh out loud. Nice. Now Tony is gonna get mad. Juanita Rivera.
Yeah, Juanita
Taylor in his
Rivera.
younger days went by the street name of Pootie Tang. Dr. Joe Allen says, yeah, let's see what Marie says. Yeah, and here I am, sweet 16. Perry had never been kissed, and Christian, but Joe, jeez. Right?
I
Jeez.
lived in the city. It's just that's what you did.
Well, it's okay. Mizzy's 39 years old and he still hasn't had sex, so 40-year-old virgin coming up. He could make a remake about that movie starring Mizzy, right? Just Mizzy's like, damn it, damn you. Poor guy. Curious kids and porn sounds like my childhood. You know what? Were
It
there
happens.
any kids 8, 9, 10 years old that didn't get in, try and check out their father's porn and stash? And I was 7 years old when I saw my dad's porn stash for the first time.
No, the first, and it wasn't the first porn I ever saw was there was a mom and pop video store in, again, Worcester on Millbury Street. It was called Rialto Video, and I rented the movie Trick or Treat, the original Trick or Treat movie, on VHS. And my uncle went to not my uncle, my grandfather went to the saloon doors in the back. When I had to return the movie, I was going to jump on my bike, and he goes, "Hey, can you return this for me?" I'm like, "Sure." So I went downstairs and I looked at it. It was Taboo 3. And I put it in the VCR tape in my bedroom before I returned it. That was the first movie I ever saw. But the first thing I ever saw was me, a friend that I had. His name was David, and another kid. We were in the city, and there was a trash bin that had some. It looked like the old Pan Am bags that you find like for airplanes. And we opened it up, and there was a ton of porn mags. And we were flipping through it. And I remember one of the porn mags was the Madonna one, when Madonna was out. And we were all in the woods freaking looking at all these porn mags. But that was and I think I was like, that was
Now,
pre-Juanita. So that was like 8. I was like 8 or 9.
pre-Juanita. Now,
Yeah.
the Trick or Treat VHS, is that the one that Code Red put out with the slipcover? Kino Lorber distributed it. It's on their website.
What, the Taboo film?
No, the Trick or Treat.
Yeah. It's the one with the guy with the guitar.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one. No, I'm thinking of a different Trick or Treat. Not that one. I'm thinking of one that Code Red put out. Joe, what the? You do realize Grant's in here?
Hey, I'm telling you. I've told some of these stories, and people are like, "Damn, Joe, you could write a book with the shit that's gone on in your life." I'm like, dude, you don't even know.
Like Grant's in the chat. That's great. I mean, even more so than Tony sitting here. Grant being in the chat is just great.
Yeah.
My grandpa got me a subscription to Playboy when I was 12.
Wow.
Wow. Get him, Grant.
Oh, yeah. I can curl some toes with some of my stories.
Before we curl any more toes with these stories, let's go into number 5.
Yeah, let's go to number 5. It was the first movie that I watched.
It can't be the one. Oh no, it better not be the one I'm thinking. I mean, I don't have any that would kill me, but yeah, is it
the first one I watched? And it was Then Came You.
Really? That's like probably my favorite one on this list. Damn you, Joe.
Then Came You. It was 3 stars again.
3 stars.
It was 3 stars, and I'll say it was the only movie that made me cry.
Hey Tony, it's another romantic movie
Yeah,
with a lot of sadness. Um,
yeah.
I like my sad movies, man.
Um, when he opens up the card, right when he got the card and he opened it, I started tearing up. That was it. I lost it because I knew what the I like I said, I knew what was gonna there was I knew what was gonna be in the card without like knowing like word for word what was gonna be in the card. I knew what the card implied. And right there I just started crying. That was the only movie on your list that actually made me cry.
Well, my list
But
outside of maybe Lean on Pete's not all that sad, I don't think. And the rest is history, Fish says, yeah.
yeah, and the
Um,
rest is history.
Grandma was wasting his money, right? Grandpa was wasting his money, right, Fish? Most definitely, Tony. Is Asa Butterfield in any happy movies? That's a good point. Wow, a movie Bob didn't tell me to watch. LOL. Yeah, it's too sad for you, Mizzy. He was in Ender's Game. LOL. Yeah, I guess that's not sad. I love Then Came You. I'm waiting on hearing where it's on. I watched it on Netflix when I first saw it, but Shout Factory put it out on Blu-ray.
Huh. I would
Yeah.
actually like to buy this film because I really liked it.
What'd
And
you give it?
it's
3.5? Don't tell me a 3.
three. It's
What the
three.
fuck is there? What the damn? I can't. Damn. Okay. All right. I really liked it.
I give it 3 stars. I really like the dynamic friendship
Between the
with between both of them. I've always liked the girl from Game of Thrones. I
friends.
liked her in this, and she was in that freaking I forgot what the name of the movie is. The movie that they break into a house. It's similar to like
Not Don't Breathe.
it's similar to Don't Breathe, but it's called something else that she
It's
was
got
in.
her in it.
It has her and she's the main in it. It was a Dollar Tree special.
You
Somebody's gonna
didn't
say
watch
it,
the movie, Bob, like Tony would say.
but I really liked it. Like I said, you
Prime,
know
Pluto, and just FYI. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't at first when I was first watching it with the guy how he was going to different places and he was like when he really didn't have nothing going on with him like physically, but he was going to these different things or different without spoil. I don't want to spoil anything,
I'll
but
put it on the
without
screen. But I before I dive into spoilers, I wanted to touch on you talked about the friendship. This movie's such a prime example of, and it doesn't like it at first it almost starts as her using him in a way, kind of,
yeah,
not necessarily, but like sort of. I love the friendship as it develops and how I think I wrote it down. Um True friendship. She pushed him and they changed together. He made
yep,
her better and she made him experience life. So he made
hmm
her a better person, but she made him experience life in ways that he never would have before that. And I wrote, yeah, I know I love my sad endings. I don't want to touch on that. That's a spoiler. I also really like the soundtrack, several songs that I really like, but I like this kind of music. So, but I wrote feels his heart. You remember when she feels his heart? And she says,
yep,
yeah. And he's like, she says, what do you feel? And he's like, she feels his heart. And he says, yeah, it means I'm alive. And she replies, no, Kelvin, it means you're a pussy.
yeah,
I was cracking up.
yeah. One thing that kind of made me chuckle was when she saw his the casket that he made her, and she's like, "That thing looks like a death trap," and right there I just started chuckling because I'm like, "You're gonna be dead. It doesn't matter if it's a death trap or not."
All right. So you want to call out another person in the community that I could see literally saying that exact same thing all right. Tell me you can't see this happening. Ashley saying that to somebody like, no, Bob, it means you're a pussy. I could
Yeah,
totally see that, right?
I could totally see it.
I love that scene. I was cracking up. No, Calvin, it means you're a pussy. It's hilarious. It's so well timed. And the way it just comes out of nowhere, too. He's like barely breathing, and he's like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
No, Calvin, it means
hmm
cracking up at that part. Oh my goodness, I had to write that down. But you want to dive into spoilers then?
Yeah.
It's got my girl and also Mizzy's girl in it, Nina Dobrev from Vampire
Is that
Diaries.
the girl that he liked?
Vampire Diaries. The Owners, Joe. That's the movie. Oh,
The Owners.
RLJE
Yep.
put out The Owners. I
Yep.
haven't seen The Owners though.
I watched. It was a one-time watch. Didn't make my shelf. I
Gotcha.
went to Bull Moose.
I might have The Owners. All right. Oh, I got The Owners right there. I literally have it. Should I watch it tonight? Anyways.
Go for it.
Okay, so spoilers. I just found it. It's in RLJ put it out. Okay, spoilers. Go ahead. Dive into spoilers. Spoiler alert.
One of the parts that I really felt bad for her was when she decided to go to the party with her old friends and she had her best friend. And how pretty much everybody abandoned her because of her disease and she was dying. I felt so bad for her. It actually choked me up because I just felt the loss that she was feeling because pretty much everybody that she was close with and that was her friends pretty much all abandoned her. And like I said, the end when she finally died, and then when he opened up that card and started reading it, I lost it. I started crying. I just thought it was a really, really good film. And like you said, I like the dynamic how she used him, but she really pushed him a lot throughout the film to talk with that girl, to do different things.
I think his relationship with her started that way. It didn't finish that way though.
No.
And you could see it by how distraught he was after she passed.
Yeah. She actually, I felt like he actually found like a really good friend in her and somebody that really actually cared for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wrote down the one thing I wanted to say that was a spoiler. I love the ending. He finally flies for the first time. And earlier in the movie, she said she would make sure he had a good flight, if you remember. So I liked a little bit of romance, but I like that they really focused on the friendship as well. So I like that they sprinkle that in. But the ending, I love that it's just kind of she looks at him and it's him looking back at her, and then it kind of cuts to credits. I love that.
Yeah, I like that too because I liked the same as you. I like that it wasn't really a romance film. Like he liked that girl, but that really wasn't in the forefront or even as a side story. It was kind of, on the back burner was something that was going on. But I like that they kept it between the two main characters throughout the whole film and pretty much, between them. That's what I like the most about it. But this is something that I will actually be on the lookout to purchase.
Shout Factory. Yep. I'm going to take spoilers off the screen.
Go for it.
So no spoilers up. I've seen The Owners. Holland Oates. Should I watch it? But this isn't like Joe said during spoilers. It's not necessarily a romantic movie. It is more about friendship. This movie, romance is this side piece of the film, which I appreciate a little romance in my movies. But I like when movies pinpoint friendships versus romance all the time, and I like that movies can show you that a woman and a man can actually be friends. And I thought that was cool. So I really did like that. Did you want to dive into number 4?
Let's go for it.
All right, number 4. Let's see.
Number 4. Where is it?
So there's 4 left here. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wrong on the one that I should have known better. And I'm not going to change my rating, but I should have known better than that you would have liked that one. But I wasn't sure if you would. But anyways, Tony's favorite movie still hasn't popped up yet. So 5 stars for Tony.
I guarantee you, I think Tony's favorite movie is probably going to be, I won't say yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'll tell you which one I think it is when I do say it.
Yeah, I think it's probably in Tony's top 25 movies of all time, his favorite movies. So I was just happy to see that I recommended a movie that Tony gave 5 stars.
Next one. What's that? Number 4 you said? Number 4 is Killing Ground.
Okay, all right. So number 4 is going to be Killing Ground. Something I recommended to Holland Oates that he did not like. How many stars, buddy?
3.5.
Okay. All right. I feel like that's
First
pretty
three and a
close.
half.
Yes, sir.
Now, I enjoyed this film. I love Australian films, as you know, by different films that we've talked about in the past, or Hounds of Love that I gave you the last time. I enjoy Australian films. I like films that are set in that setting. I like pretty much the story of this film because it reminds me of like a Wolf's Creek, or kind of like a Rest Stop kind of film. Of And it had a little bit of like Eden Lake vibes, a
There's
little
some
bit
Eden
with.
Lake in there for sure on the beach. Mizzy just
Yeah,
watched this and he's like, "Is it like it's like Eden Lake because on the beach
yeah,
vibes."
yeah. But the whole time it's like at the beginning, I really liked the the way it was shot. I liked just pretty much the whole story of this film. I really enjoyed it. I liked the
Enjoyed,
dynamic.
enjoyed
Yeah,
is the
I
word you
enjoyed
use.
it.
Oh
The
man.
the When we get to spoilers, there's one thing I did not like about this film, and we'll get to it.
Okay.
But that it would have been, I probably would have gave it a 4 stars if it wasn't for one part of this movie. But I I just I really enjoyed this film. I really liked what the story was about, and it was pretty much, like I said, it was pretty much about a family. Certain things, I don't think this is a spoiler, but when they first get there, there's that other tent, and it's like after a little bit, I would have walked over just to see if somebody was sleeping to go, hey, you know, hi, we're gonna be staying here, this, that, especially when nobody shows up. I would have kind of questioned that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, when I watch a film, I try to put myself into that mindset of what would I do, and that's something that I would have done. Is after a couple hours, I would have walked over there to see if there was somebody there, just to introduce myself, because I'm staying on the same lake. That was one thing that kind of bothered me about the film. Um, that's about as much as I can say about it without like going into like heavy, not heavy
Well, this
spoilers,
this is
but
the type of movie you can't. It's hard to talk about without spoilers.
yeah,
I'll
that's
say
why.
this without spoiling it. I liked. I'm not a big fan of going back and forth, especially the way they do on a story where it doesn't
Yeah,
tell you 4 years later or something like that. But as the movie went on, that storytelling, the flashback type of thing, and they're not even flashbacks, but the way it actually connects together, I started to really like.
yeah. So that I don't mind when they go back and forth, as long as it's like, if it's written on the screen or there's something drastic that tells you that
You
it's
can
past or
tell
present.
you can tell
Yeah,
that
you can tell with this one.
which timeline or story you're in this movie,
Yeah,
and then it comes together so well. Like when they cut to the tent scenes, for example, on the beach, I like how when they cut to the other scene, they're both scenes that take place on the beach. When they're
yeah,
walking, both scenes take place when they're walking, if that makes sense, like both
yeah.
stories. But it's
And
hard
that's
to dive
and that
into
was
it more.
and that was one of the things that I mentioned to Maria. I said, "Oh, this is in the past." She goes, "How do you know it's in the past?" I said, "Because the other tent's not behind them." I
Yeah.
said, "So that this is what happened, previously, because
I'm
the
gonna
couple that's there now is not, their tent's not shown."
I'm gonna catch with the chat just a few comments that are there. Then I'm gonna put spoilers on the screen after I catch
Yep,
up with the chat. And then I think Tony Basement Blues would actually like this one a little bit because he
probably.
liked Eden Lake a lot. So he would
Yeah,
probably like it. I liked Killing Ground overall. Wow, 5 stars for Tony, very high rating. Yes, Eden Lake vibes for sure. Mizzy said. Marie said that's messed up, Joe, but 4 stars. Marie says yes, Ms. Like 2 minutes in, I'm like Eden Lake. And yes, definitely said the same thing like this, but liked Eden Lake better. Yeah, I like Eden Lake better as well.
so do
Um,
I.
but I'm going to talk spoilers now. We're going to dive into spoilers because there's some things I wanted to ask you about the ending. So I'm going to try and be patient and let you speak, and then I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the ending and ask you a couple questions.
Okay. Um, the part the what I'll talk about that bothered me about the film, the baby. What happened to the damn baby? They never say it at the end of the film.
Okay, so Mizzy's probably watching right now because he just watched it, so he's definitely listening. I asked Mizzy. Mizzy and I both agree that this is a huge spoiler to everybody that's watching. It's not funny, but you gave me a list with babies being thrown on the against the door, and I gave you a list with babies being thrown on the floor or on the ground. We
On the
have
ground.
problems. We have problems, Joe. That's all I'm going to say. However, I think that it's the dog. The dog walks over to the baby. You know, I think it's obvious that a dog can't feed a baby water. You know what I mean? The baby
No,
needs formula probably and things like that. I think it's pretty obvious that baby, unless somebody went back and nobody would know because they didn't obviously bring up the
they
baby.
didn't, and that's
I think that, well, the cops were dead at the time, so there's nobody to
yeah,
tell. And whenever they were probably passed out, and that's why they woke up in the hospital. That had to be days later, at least a day later, right? There's no way
yeah,
they woke up in the hospital three
no,
hours later, 4 hours later. So I think it's very obvious that baby dies.
yeah, because well, when everything happened, it was later on in the day. By the way, the sun was set in the background when they were at that spot. When they showed them in the hospital, the sun was rising in the window, so it had to be at least the next day.
At least the next, and in the chat, Mizzy, be careful saying anything because you could spoil it in the chat. So
Yeah,
just a heads up to the chat who's seen this
but
one.
that was that was the one thing. That was the only thing that really bothered me was like I would have like even if they would have like after they were at the hospital, if they did like a camera ground scene of just like going like that, you just see grass, you don't really see anything like high up, like you only see like 4 inches of the ground, like a camera rolling, and then it comes up to the dog still sitting there, and now the baby's dead because it's been out, for a day or two, at least but or when she wakes up, because she was so worried about the baby. When she woke up, she saw him and then she sat with him in the hospital room. It never even crossed her mind to go, the baby, or we gotta to find somebody to find out about this baby and get back there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No, and
I
her,
told when I watched this with Mizzy and I showed him it, I told him, I was warning him, this is a tough watch. It's a brutal watch. And he watched it and he was like, that's not, I guess I hyped it up. But for me, this is one of the toughest watches I've ever seen. And the reason why is because the baby, for one, I don't do well with babies. I watched this right after my niece Rosalie was born, so it doesn't do well with me. But also, it's the rape that it's not even shown. And I told Mizzy this because Mizzy was
yeah,
probably expecting some brutal rape. I said, there's no rape in the movie, but it's the fact that you see
it's
this
implied.
underage girl laying there with her pants off. And then he says, should we do the mom again? So you
Yeah,
know that they ran an absolute wreck on the daughter, and
on both of yeah,
she was out cold. She was just laying there. And then
yeah,
the mother, and then to have to be watching your husband have a bottle on his head, and then just and you what does it for me is that I think of when I think of the rape in this movie, I think of the fact that the dad was probably tied to a tree having to watch it,
the whole thing,
and he couldn't do
especially
anything about it.
especially when the both parents had to watch the daughter that happened to the daughter. And like you said, the daughter to me probably got it the worst because when it opened up to her lying there with her pants off and they were ready to talk about the mother again, I thought the daughter was dead because I mean,
Doesn't
there
move.
was zero movement. And then when the guy goes, well, what are we going to do with her? And then he walked over and shot her in the head. I'm like, holy crap, she was alive.
Yeah.
You know?
And she would never, I told Mizzy, I said, that girl would never, she gets raped and then she never gets to experience life after that because she would be dead. She gets shot in the
Yeah.
head. So there's
Yeah.
no, so this movie, and then the one thing I wanted to ask you, my question for you is the ending when she's okay with her boyfriend leaving her there because she's like he grabbed the baby. I forget the Oliver, and
Oliver.
he's like she says she's like he has Oliver, and then we find out later on in the movie that he doesn't have Oliver, and so I told Mizzy, I said, could you leave your girlfriend there? Like, I get he's trying to go get help, right? And if he
Yep.
had the kid, it is a different story because okay, go back. You have the kid, go get help, etc. You know what I mean? And she was okay with that. But I think when she finds out that he didn't save Oliver and he left her there, I think she was kind of upset about that. And I think that's
I
the
think
look.
so.
I think that's the look you get in the hospital is like we need to talk almost. Like
Yeah.
I'm. It's going to take some time to forgive you, especially what we just went through.
Because he did. I felt like he thought about himself and he just took off. You know what I mean?
He went to go
Even
get
though he
help,
did,
but
even though he did go get help, it's like I wouldn't have left her there. I would have, you know,
and there's
tried to save her.
and there's the gun scene where he had a chance to grab the gun and he didn't.
Yeah, I was screaming at the TV and I yelled at Marie. I'm like, he's walking towards the guy that's pretty much shot and he's almost dead. He could have grabbed a gun, and when he heard the other guy coming with his girlfriend, he turned around and went to go hide underneath that freaking little mole of a hill. I'm like, you were literally 10, 15 feet away from that thing. There was no reason to me, because the guy was laying there, like I told her, I would have done a run by. That I would have just not walked slow towards the body, because him walking slow, if the guy was not completely dead or had enough strength to pick up the gun, him walking slow enough, the guy could have been like, oh, let me grab the gun and shoot him. I would have came running faster and grabbed the gun as I constantly keep on running to try to get away from him. But I'm like, for him to be so close to the gun and just, you know, chicken shit out of it and turn around, I thought that was just so stupid. I'm
Yeah.
like, to me, that was a dumb move. And even even when, to me, another kind of, I'm not gonna say a trope, but I thought it was just a dumb move. When the guy shows up and he grabs his gun, he says, hey, to the husband, let's go try to find the family that owned the car. We'll leave your girlfriend here with the baby. I'm just like,
Yeah.
right there, you should know that something is wrong when you find a baby. You don't know how long that baby's there. The baby's, barely cathartic and needs food and everything else. And this guy's worried about going to find a family when you have this baby. To me, they should have, if it was somebody else, like I said, I put myself in that kind of movie. To me, I would have been like, yeah, get in my car, let's get the baby somewhere, and then we'll come back and worry about the family. Because right now, you don't even know how long it's going to take you to even find the family. He's like, oh, they're probably by the falls.
Yeah.
But it's like,
The scene too, the mother being able to get away and then getting shot like that broke my heart too. There was
yeah,
another scene that just, but the one scene that shocked me was because I completely almost forgot about it on a rewatch, was the damn scene where she's starting to walk back to the car and they're leaving, and then all of a sudden you just see a baby in the background, and there's no music, there's no nothing. You just see this little baby
yeah,
walking. That is one of the most shocking scenes to me. In I swear that camera shot right there as you see it, because they don't pan on it, they don't show it, they don't zoom in on it.
no,
You just see it and you're like, holy shit. Mizzy says to me, he's like, why is there a baby? And I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that scene. It was a jump scare with no jump scare at all involved.
yeah,
It was just
because
shocking.
yeah, because before that, you see when the father finds the hat that says Oliver, and it's kind of new, so it hasn't been in the woods that long. But I never put the two and two together, and then when I saw the baby just walking out of nowhere, I'm like, what the hell? And then when she's like, oh, I'm gonna go back and get more, I'm like, oh, she's gonna find the baby right here.
But
And then when she's
that scene with the throwing the baby was, I think in this one it's worse. Well, the entire scene in Nightingale is worse than this one, but the scene itself of the baby in this one versus Nightingale, because not that they show the baby being thrown on the ground, but they like this one. I had a harder time with this one than Nightingale.
This one is worse because it was intentional.
Yeah, and then in the other one, it was like
it was accidental.
The scene in itself is worse because you got a rape, a husband being killed, and the baby. But in this one, it's
because in the Nightingale, he's holding the baby and he's like, "Oh my God!" and he turns real quick and smashes it against the wall. But it was accidental. He didn't try to do it on purpose. On this one, it's like the baby's crying. The guy's getting mad. He's like, "Give me the baby," and he takes the baby and freaking smashes his head right against the ground.
Well, in Nightingale, it's kind of intentional. He's like, get rid of that, shut that baby up too. He's like, and he kind of just chucks it at the door, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
All right, you want to take spoilers off here?
Yeah, take the spoilers off.
Okay, yeah, I feel all right. Spoilers are off. I do feel bad in a way sometimes, but you got to dive deep into movies. It's the way it goes, and I suppose I could announce that what the movies are ahead of time so people could watch them, but I don't know. I think there's a surprise and there's fun in it waiting. And then also half the people won't even watch them anyways ahead of time. So it's like, I'm going to do something with Mizzy in the future. It's coming up. And when we start doing that, we're going to let people know what we're watching so they could watch it and jump into the chat with us.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the heat, no food. Exactly. Mizzy says, yep. It's for the baby. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Joe was yelling at the TV. Me too on that scene.
I was.
Definitely will be watching this one. Nikki says it's not for the faint of heart. And I know for me, like Mizzy was like, this wasn't that bad. And I'm like, look, not everything needs to be in your face to be bad to watch. For me, this is one of the top 5 hardest watches I've ever watched. And people in the chat that watch it are going to go, huh? Probably. But for me, it's the fact that everything is implied and I don't need to know. I need to see it all. And my dad talks about that with rape movies as well. Like, we don't always need to see it to know what's going on. You don't.
True.
And I think that's what makes the Last House on the Left remake done in good taste or classy, is that it's not as gratuitous.
Yes.
And this movie, there's no on-screen sexual assault. But it is one of the most, for me, just implied scenes, and I did all the imagination I needed for that, and it was disturbing to watch because it's involving a whole family, and it's tough to watch. Yeah,
I was gonna say there's only one scene that is like that anything kind of happens, and it was with the guy and the girlfriend when he had her tied up to the tree with her arms above her head, and what he does.
Oh,
that's and that's like not even really that bad. That it was more of him trying to make her scream and try to like fight him.
And that's she's like, about that
she's like, no, I'm not doing it.
So I've actually forgot to mention that she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't scream his name, but then he's out. You know what I mean? And so here she is, and that's what I said to Mizzy. I said the woman is so much tougher, and she's just. He comes off as a coward in the movie a little bit. And I don't want to call somebody a coward, because when you're forced into a situation like that, you don't know what you're gonna do, what's gonna go in your head.
No, everybody takes it differently.
But I loved her character. She was great.
Yeah. I thought she was, like you said, she was more of a badass than the guy in this.
Okay. Number 3. Let's see is it Tony's movie.
I'm gonna say number 3. Number 3 is what I think would probably be Tony's movie.
All right.
And it was A Perfect World.
In A Perfect World it is. Number 3 is Tony's 5-star movie on Letterboxd. Tony loves this movie. It's his favorite Clint Eastwood movie. I'm kind of surprised that this was this high on your list. A Perfect World, number 3.
Yeah. I gave it 3.5 stars.
Fight or flight,
yeah. Yeah. I really liked this movie. I thought it was pretty good. I liked Kevin Costner in this movie. I really liked the little kid. I thought the little kid was really good in this film as well. It reminded me a lot of. It was similar, kind of like that Lean on Pete. of them trying, Kevin Costner trying to, you know, go somewhere after, you know, how he gets to this position, and pretty much the story that goes along with the people that he meets along the way, and the dynamic that and the bond that he gets with that kid. And I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was really good. I really liked the ending scene in the movie, and how the the kid took it, you know, when he was trying to when everybody thought the kid was going to be one way and he was totally different. It made me laugh seeing Laura Dern in the movie because I'm like, oh, Bob likes Laura Dern.
I like Laura Dern. Yeah, she's a good actress. I'm disappointed. Tony fell asleep, I think. He's not in the chat for this one. Where's Tony at?
He's right above it. He's like, cool, Marie.
Yeah. Oh, is he in the chat? No, he's. Oh, yeah, but he's not here now. He didn't say anything about this movie. Where'd
Maybe
Tony
he's waiting
go?
for our thoughts.
Mizzy says, never heard of A Perfect World and directed by Clint Eastwood. Added it to my watch list. Tony,
Yep.
I asked Mizzy the other day, I said, have you watched any of the movies? I'm going to call him out. And he's like, no, he's got all of them on his watch list. Half the movies from these streams that he hasn't seen, but he never gets to them. Like, get to this one. Tony says, I am here.
Yeah.
This is five stars for Tony, though, on Letterboxd. And you gave it 3.5. So people keep in mind. It's a very good. It's one of Clint Eastwood's
I was
best.
gonna say one of the scenes that I really liked is when he's in the car with the kid, and he's talking. Oh yeah, we're in a rocket ship. Here's the past. Here's the present. Here's the future. I really like that scene in the film. And another one that made me laugh. I wish I would have rewound it and wrote it down. But me, when I'm in, when I watch a movie, I hate rewinding and pausing stuff because I like to stay in it. But the scene with Laura Dern when they asked her if she liked steak and she goes, "Oh, give me it raw," and then the line that Clint Eastwood says made me laugh. And she goes, "Okay, medium rare." I just started laughing, and I forgot what it was. It made me chuckle. I'm not sure if you would remember what it was.
I can't remember, but you get Clint Eastwood, just old school Clint Eastwood too, because he's hardcore with Laura Dern too. He's pretty tough on her.
Yeah, he's pretty tough on her, but he actually, kind of defends her when the FBI guy is kind of a dick to Laura Dern, and he almost kicks him out of the trailer for it.
Freaking people! I get distracted by the chat every once in a while. I know it sounds like Marie liked it. She says, yes, Fish, check it out, because Fish said, haven't seen it, this one either. Mizzy, I need to check it out myself. Bob keeps telling me to watch like About Fate, so it's hard to find time for these. I don't tell him that. He's already seen that. I don't tell him to watch that. Tell him to watch these movies. I recommend good movies to Mizzy. It's funny because I was only wrong on 2, and you'll see where I had them ranked on your list. But when I put together these watch lists, like, I feel like you, Adam, and Mizzy, I know your taste better than any of the other people I've given recommendations to. So I'm kind of like, so I'm a little disappointed in the 2 that I recommended. I was 8 for 10 you just on your list, and I think you were 8 for 10 on mine. Same thing. So you just wanted to follow in my footsteps. You didn't want to do better than me. I see how it is. No, yeah. But keep going on. Go ahead. But I'm not the only one.
But like I said, I really enjoyed this. I even liked pretty much, again, the what was this movie was filmed in the 60s. I think it was like based in the 60s. I've always liked that period watching films. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I liked what ended up with the other guy that they were with throughout the film at the beginning when he because that the other guy that was with Kevin Costner, I thought that guy was a creep. I honestly felt like something would have happened later on in the film if what happened to him didn't happen to him. Especially when he brought up, about something being small. I'm just like, you're kind of a weirdo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't get a chance. This is one of the ones Tony says everyone should see this movie. I agree with Tony. I
I
didn't get a
agree.
chance. I didn't get a chance to rewatch this one. Four of the movies I didn't rewatch. I watched it last year. I rewatched it, so I didn't rewatch it like this at this time. But so I do. It's weird because I don't know if you're gonna understand where I'm coming from when I say this. But movies I love, and I really like A Perfect World. I think I gave it 4 stars or 4.5, and it could be a 4.5 on a rewatch for me. But I watch it and I'm like, it was a year ago. If I were to rewatch it this week, I wasn't in the mood to watch this. And if I forced myself, because I was doing this at first when I was recommending movies, if I forced myself to watch it, I feel like it would make me lose my appreciation of the movie because I'm not in the
Yeah.
mood to watch it. I don't want to watch it. And so that's the thing about these watch lists I give people. Not every one I want to rewatch. And so I don't, because at first I was forcing myself to do it. Like when I did Tim's list, I was forcing myself to watch a couple that I had just watched like a year ago, and it made me appreciate the movie less. I was like, I love this movie and I didn't like it right now because I forced myself to watch something I wasn't in the mood to watch. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. But
And
as soon as I
that's
seen it a year ago, I guess that's not bad.
and I was gonna say that's good night, Tony. And that's one of the things that I was gonna say with me is like,
Good day.
because I'm a strictly not a synopsis kind of guy, and I go off of artwork. And since a lot of these I streamed, and I try to go in blind that I didn't read any of. Some of them, you know, like uh, maybe one of the films. I think maybe Stop Loss. When I watched it, I probably would have gave it maybe a little bit better if I was more into the mood for that type of film.
Exactly. Exactly.
Something,
That's why I don't.
something, something probably that on a rewatch. Maybe I would like it more because, like I said, I won't tell you what Marie gave it, but it's like maybe I would have liked it more if I was more in the mood for that style film.
I think it too. Yeah, because I agree. And an ending can ruin a movie for you. And so that ending, you
Yeah.
didn't like it. And then
Nope.
the other one, you didn't like the actress. So it's
Yep.
really just an ending and an actress that stopped me from being 10 for 10, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty damn close.
yeah. Okay. Did you want to talk about this one anymore? Did you want to dive into number two?
I'm good with that one.
I do agree though. I love the ending of this movie. I think it's really emotional. I think
Yeah.
it hits. And I do think Fish would
I
really
got
like
choked
it.
up.
I think Fish would really like this, and Nikki, I think you would really like this movie. John Joe
Yeah.
JoJo's mom there. You would like this one a lot.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Tony says 100% to Fish is what I like it, Tony. Yeah, Fish and Nikki, this would be what I recommend to them. Adam says night, Tony. Good night, Tony. Okie dokie, just because you recommended it, Basement Blues. Mizzy says, yeah, that does make sense. Got to be in the mood sometimes. Get on it, Fish. Good night. He's all business. Okay, number two. Only two left, and
Are
I
you
am
shocked? Like you say to me, are you shocked with the last two?
no, actually, one of the two is my number two on your list, so we'll see if it is. I'm shocked by one of them. I'm not shocked by one because I know you, and most people are going to go, "What the hell is?" Well, actually, both of these movies, nobody's heard of the one, and the only other one that they've heard of when they hear the damn title, they're going to make fun of us. But I know your taste, and I know Marie's taste, so I knew you would like this. But the one that's a faith-based film, I know you like your faith-based films, but I'm surprised by that being that high. And
Okay.
it's not even faith-based. It's not like God's not dead or something. That one's not like
No, that's some Jesus. It's not fireproof
yeah,
or
no,
anything like that.
yeah. The second one, the one of the two are left on your list is not a heavy in the faith-based. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Number two that I give 3.5 stars to is Puppy Love.
Wow. So number one is gonna be the wow. Okay, so people are like, what the hell is this? For one, let me be clear, this movie's rated R, so it's actually got a
Yes.
humor in it, which makes it way better than it should be. Um, and then also, why do I never remember her name? Because Mizzy thinks she's beautiful too. But she's beautiful.
She's from
I
Pretty
know what
Little
she's
Liars.
I know what she's in, but she's hot. I just don't know what it is.
I forgot what her
Thank you,
name
God,
is.
because I did watch all the movies. Gosh, what the Johnny says? What the fucking hell? Look, listen. Would I recommend this movie to anybody else? No, I
Probably
wouldn't.
now.
Joe loves puppy movies. He loves dog movies, and
And I
it's
love rom-coms.
yes, laugh out loud. I like puppy love, and I'm not into movies like this as usual. Lucy
Yeah.
Hale is the one. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Lucy Hale.
Trailer for this for Lucy Hale, Dolores Drake. It is adult humor is what makes this movie way better than it should be too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it takes place during COVID. Like
Yep.
they actually reference COVID.
Yep. I really, really, this was the third movie I watched, and literally, this was a film that right when it was done, I wanted to start it over. That's how
Oh,
much I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I loved the characters in it. I loved the way they bounced off each other. It reminded me a lot of. It reminded me of a rated R Hallmark film because it had that Hallmark, as people call it, the Hallmark cookie cutter story of, without going into any spoilers, it has the build up, the the build, the story, the build up, the fight, the makeup. And that's pretty much how Hallmark movies go. And I'm like, it's following the same Hallmark pattern. And even though I knew what was going to happen throughout the film, I couldn't get enough of it. I was just like, oh my God, I want to watch this again.
it is predictable. It's cliche. I like oh my gosh, now I'm forgetting his name from the TV show The Flash. Oh my
I don't
goodness.
know his name.
Oh, I'm pissing myself off. I'm not good with names. But what I people give us shit, right? Like a Johnny and a Holland Oates, for example. However, this series, What Did I Just Watch, is all about knowing your audience. Okay. And so what I recommend to you, I might not recommend to a Johnny, right? When I go and put Johnny's list together, whenever I get around to his list, because he's got 2 of them that are over 3 hours long, it's going to take me 6 years to watch. But whenever I recommend movies to him, I got to know what Johnny's into. Would I put a Puppy Love on his list? Hell no, right?
Hell no.
But I'm going to put something on there that I know Johnny's taste for. So you got to know your audience. I know you like dogs. I know you're into puppy movies. I knew that. I figured Marie was going to watch these. I know she loves dogs too. I know you like Hallmark movies, and it plays a little bit like that, but it's like you said, a rated R Hallmark movie almost. And it's got the adult humor works really well for me. On a rewatch, I gave this 4 stars when I first watched it. On a rewatch, I gave it 3.5. But I also rewatched this. I kind of forced myself to rewatch this. And it was probably too soon because I just watched it last year for the first time, so I didn't need to rewatch it already. But yeah, so go ahead. But yeah, I like it. I mean, I you know what's funny is I play like his character almost in the nerdiness of like, don't touch my collectibles. Busy knows all about that when he was out here, right? Like, don't grab my steelbook set like that. And Mizzy's like, oh my God, I'm just gonna let him touch it, right?
Yeah.
But
the cigar scene, I was just like, oh,
right. So, but the extrovert in her is a lot like me, like not being I am not a germaphobe in the slightest at all.
Me neither.
The farthest thing from it. Like, I don't need hand sanitizer. I mean, to each his own, you know what I mean? That's fine. Maybe I should care more about hand sanitizer and all that stuff. It's not me. So I'm the nerdiness, I relate to him, but the women, the extrovert in me is more like her.
I'm a lot of the same as you said. The nerdiness of him is a lot like me, and the extrovert of her. Like I said, I really liked that it had heart. I liked the growth from both of them, as both of them, were growing throughout the film. I really liked the porta potty scene. I got a good chuckle out of that one.
Oh. Why does he bring the poor dog?
Yeah, the porta potty scene and the labor scene. I freaking I was the labor scene. I was freaking chuckling, and then when he did the open mic, I cried. I cried. I don't know. I cry. I guess I
You
cry a
said
lot
you
of
didn't
movies.
cry during two of my movies. You cried during one only. Now you liar. You
It
cried
was.
the
It
first
was no. It was two because I wrote down at the bottom. I teared up.
one. Okay. All right. So
One I cried. This one I teared up. I didn't cry. Cry.
it's
I.
okay. I got my dad tearing up the other night during one of my watches with the poor guy. I look over. He goes, "No more sad movies." I was like, "That's all I know what to watch."
I'm the same way. But
Um.
yeah, I when he did the open mic, I teared up on that one. I thought it was
Okay.
really good.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. There's not a whole lot to dive into spoilers, so we could skip all that for this one.
Yeah,
Um.
but this is a film that I'll probably watch again before the year's over. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no physical media release. It was well, it's on Amazon Prime now, but it was
Yeah,
on
it's not.
before that. It was on Freevee. That's how I watch it on my websites that I use. But
Yeah,
it's on Amazon Prime now. So if you want to check this one out,
and if you have and Freevee is part of Amazon Prime too, so
yeah,
both
it
ways.
wouldn't be yeah Johnny. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would more than likely not recommend a Disney movie, but you're going to, I fucking Disney absolutely not. Johnny is right. Hold your you might like it, Holland. To Grant Gustin, thank you. Something like that. Yeah. I didn't like his hair in this one, but anyways. Johnny says,
Mhm.
okay, damn it, it's now added to my watch list. I don't know. Unfortunately, Johnny can never be nice, Marie. I apologize for him. Thank you, Johnny. Marie says, Johnny. Thank you, April. Bob almost ripped my head off, laugh aloud, but it was my fault, my own fault. Oh yeah, for the steel book when he grabbed it. Watching Bob eat pancakes with his bare hands told me a lot about his personality. Yeah, like a caveman, right? Oh, poor Mizzy. Haha, you two were funny at breakfast, Johnny. Oh man, I love Johnny. Johnny and April, man, two peas in a pod. I couldn't live without them. Still can't believe you made that man cry. Caprice is talking about making my dad cry. Oh man, that's
I
funny.
remember. I remember seeing that in your story.
She gave me a call the other day, and I had my dad over. I had just gotten off the phone with Mizzy, but so she gave me a call, and then I was cooking or something. I was making the food for dinner,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Here," and I put Caprice on the phone with my dad. So my dad's an open book though, so he starts talking to her, gets all personal right away. You know how he is.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
my dad. So, but yeah, poor Caprice. Holland says, did he make pancake sandwiches? Thanks, Miss Nikki. I got him back. Let's just say I had to buy him a plunger. Oh yeah, Busy can talk about that. Oh man, Busy did something to my toilet. So he was out here. But it was all good. Anyways, oh man, I'm turning red. That's funny. Jeez. Anyways, okay, fucking busy. Yeah. So, anyways, that was number two. He needed one. Anyways, I've never clogged my toilet though, not here in my apartment. There's a first time for everything. I guess it was the first time that
Always is.
toilet got clogged. That was right as we were leaving for Tennessee too. I was pissed. I was wondering gifts. Oh man. Okay. All right. Number one. You want to dive into number one?
Let's go for it.
All right. Who else likes dogs in there? They might like puppy love. It's a bad title. It just sounds stupid, but anyways, I'm genuinely shocked by number one on your list. I should have maybe known better. I know you like your Christian movies, and it's let me be clear about number one. It's not it's a Christian film, but it's not like
It's super light.
it's not fireproof. It's not it has Christian elements, but
It's not the fifth quarter.
it's not the center of the film. It's not at the
Yeah.
heart of the
It's
film,
not
really.
mid range.
Yeah,
It's
it's actually.
very, very. It's very. The Jesus is spread on super light.
I don't even think Jesus' name is brought up in that movie once.
No, it isn't
So no. But
because
you said you loved one of them, so this was the one. You said you absolutely loved like a ton. So it was
yeah,
this one. You got to buy the
this
Blu-ray.
was the film.
There's a Blu-ray for it out there.
Yeah, this is the movie, and number one is
I'll
you can
put it
put
on
it
the.
up. I don't have to say it.
Yep. Number one is going to be Forever Strong, which is about rugby and
Yep,
humans and just coming together as a team.
yep. It's based on actual events, and it has Sean, I forgot what his name is, but he's from Never Back Down, and I love Never Back Down. And um, it's pretty much like you said. It's about rugby, and it's just about a guy going down the wrong path. Drinker, gets into a lot of trouble, has temper issues, similar to like in Never Back Down, and he has an incident and ends up in juvie without spoiling anything, and he ends up, um, you know, talking to a bunch of guys, wants to start like messing around with rugby because he was playing rugby before that, and Sean Astin, that's in this film as well from Lord of the Rings, puts him on a rugby team that's a team that is a rival team to his dad's team, and just everything that happens after that. I thought it was really good. Like I said, him being with that team and trying to straighten out his life, trying to get off drugs that he was a pill popper, and drinking and the anger issues that he was having. Just that development, the history that he had with his girlfriend, with what happened in the past, without spoiling anything. I just thought it was really well done. Um, just one of the things I really liked about it was like when he was in juvie, you could tell that his life was kind of changing. And it's something that's really small that maybe some people wouldn't notice. Is like when he started marking on the calendar, he started with X's. And then as he was there for a while, you could see that he just started going straight lines because he wasn't watching the calendar every day to go, okay, I'm going to put an X. I'm going to put an X. I'm going to put an X. And as you see the calendar is going from X's, then he's just like, whoosh, because he forgot about the calendar and he's like, oh, let me start just doing a couple of days out of whack. And he's just, and then after a while, you can see that it's a week that he's crossing off at a time because he's not worried. The time that he's doing in juvie wasn't that main concern anymore. It was what was happening with him, with this rugby team and him trying to straighten out his life. Like I said, this movie has a ton of freaking spoilers of different things that you can talk about this film without going into detail. But I thought there was a really, really good film. I love sports films, any kind of sports, as long as it's a really good film. This reminds me of, like I said, to me, this movie is as good as a Rudy. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
How many stars for this one?
4.5.
4.5. Okay, I'll take it.
Yep.
Yes.
But I really, it was like I said, the Jesus is so light that you really don't even really notice it.
No, it's not a Christian. I don't think of it as a Christian movie.
I didn't think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was a Christian film at all. There was 2 scenes, and I can't remember the scenes, but there was 2 scenes that you could tell that some faith was brought up, but it was so little that it wasn't like them trying to throw it down your throat.
I really like, and I'm going to try to once again talk about this with no spoilers as well, but the coach, man, he just wanted to, and he says, do you remember the scene where he says, and that's what makes this movie so good. Is it cliche? Yeah, there's, it's a little cheesy. Is it the greatest acted? No, because you outside of the coach, you don't. Oh, and Neil McDonough or whatever is the father who plays
the father. That's the other coach, and
plays a villain. Everything.
Yeah, the coach. His coach is the boss from Office Space.
Yes, and he's so good in it. He's probably the best actor in this movie. In just that scene, though, I can relate to that where he's like, he's trying to mold champions on and off the field, he says. And and when these kids don't become men that they should be, and so things happen, excuse me. But that's what I love about this movie is that he's trying to take these kind of like a Coach Carter almost, where it's more than
Yeah.
basketball. He's trying to
Yes.
turn these kids into men, successful men, and lead them into being men. And I like that about my sports movies is when it's more than just sports. Kind of like the way back with
Yeah.
Ben Affleck. It's
I was saying,
more than just
an,
basketball.
yeah, another film that was like that that I really liked was a movie called Hurricane Season with
Hurricane season's great. Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, I love my sports movies. More than likely, I could name. If you're trying to recommend a sports movie to me, you got to dig deep for me because I've watched
Yeah,
most.
same thing. I love sports movies, and I like that a film like this that's like a powerful sports movie. And like I said, I'm the same. If for me not to see a sports film, you have to probably like you did. You had to go into the Christian realm to find a sports movie that I haven't seen. Because
Yeah.
even a lot of those I've seen, like Mid Range and Home Run, and there's a bunch
Oh
of different
man,
ones that
I showed
I
Mizzy
know you in Home Run.
Home Run's good because that movie's powerful, man. That's about celebrate recovery. I've been through that, so it's
Hmm.
exactly where I went. I watched that movie at they had it at man. That movie. See, that's the thing. People could sit here and I have no idea what the chat's saying because I haven't caught up with it. But people a lot of times when they hear the word Christian, right? Oh, Christian films, Jeebus and stuff like that, they'll say, and I know you're not even a Christian, but you enjoy those movies because you can appreciate them. And so I respect and appreciate that. But for me, I grew up Catholic family and all that stuff, didn't grow up a Christian or anything. And then my dad started going to church after my parents got divorced, fell in love with God, started reading the Bible, tried to get me to go to church. And the only reason why I went was because of a girl. I started going. It's always
Yeah.
over a girl. And but hey, it works, right? And so for me, these movies work for me. I can relate to them though. I think they hit hard, and movies that have meaning like a Home Run that touches on alcohol and something I went through, Celebrate Recovery. I literally went to that group. So movies like that, movies like this, when it's more than just sports, I love that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love
Yeah.
movies that are just sports too, but most sports movies have heart. I mean, it'd be hard pressed to find sports movies that aren't about life and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And you can relate. I loved The Long Game with the new one, the golf movie, and I don't golf, but that might go on somebody's list one day. But I loved it, and it's because they take golf and they turn it into real life. And so for me as
Yeah.
a runner, I like the Bobby Fischer. You don't
Yeah.
have to be able to relate to that sport to be able to say, you know what? Because I don't play golf. I don't golf. I
Yeah.
don't like it. But I looked at that movie, I watched it, and I'm like, man, this is real life shit right here. Like this is good stuff. And I would show others that movie who don't like golf because it's real stuff. It's taking golf and turning it into a metaphor of life. And that's what I love about these lists. And I mentioned it to Mizzy, and I can't wait for Mizzy's list because I've been working my way through it. I gave Mizzy some really heavy shit, okay? Some
Hmm.
really depressing movies, some movies that he said he's not doing so well watching. And he said he's going to write a letter in case he, decides to fade away into
Yeah.
the, and that's what it's about. These streams, and you can hear the excitement in my voice. I hope it's real. We're having real conversations. I don't
Hmm.
worry about a time. When it comes to these game nights, you got to watch the clock. You got to get people out of there, and so on and so forth. There's laughs. It's fun, and we all need that. Don't get me wrong, but I want to talk real life shit. I want to have real conversations, and it's
Hmm.
just me and you. It's one-on-one. There's nobody else here, and it's great, man. And I love doing this. That's what it's about for me. Having conversations that could make a difference, whether it's inspiring me or you, hearing you say something. But not only that, I hope that other people see these. I was really curious if you're in the chat still watching. Tell me, like, have you watched a lot of these movies? There's been now 100 that were recommended to me, and 40 I've recommended. So 140 movies. Have you had the chance? You said you've watched a couple from these streams, and
Yeah.
what it's about for me. I really appreciate the people like an Allie and Cody and Emily in particular. I remember they posted on Instagram after they watched Marrowbone. And I know Jeff, he posts on Instagram a lot. And like last week, he ended up watching An Officer and a Gentleman and stuff. So, or 2 weeks
I
ago.
was gonna say right after the stream of rewatch Officer and the Gentleman.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
said right after
Texted.
you the stream was done, She goes, Joe, can you grab me Officer and the Gentleman? I said, yeah. And she stayed up after the stream till like 2 o'clock in the morning to watch that film.
Yeah. See, so Marie, you're right next to it, but thank you so much for those. Though that's what it's about for me is like, I you know I I can get into the drama and all that stuff too, and I could be negative if I want to, but I choose not to. And I'll be
Hmm.
straight up with people, but I think there's a difference between being blunt and honest versus negative and disrespectful. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and so for me, it's just I like doing these streams, and I want to get back to doing the what it means to us, where we dive deep into one movie because I miss those, and the remembering streams where we talk about actors. That's what it's about. I don't know when I'll get back to game nights, and I know those get the most views, but I don't do this shit for the views, man. I don't give a rat's ass about that. I'm here. I appreciate the 28 that are watching, the people that catch the replays. That's what it's about for me. The alleys who always watch on the replay and leave a comment. Thank you.
Hmm.
It's that's what it's fun. It's the ones like you who watch every single one. Johnny's, the Jeffs of the world, Nikki who never misses a stream, Holland Oates, who you would never hear his voice or you'll never see what he looks like, but he'll always be in the chat
He's
supporting.
always in the stream.
And he
Yep.
might be a smartass and he's pretty funny at times, but he's always supporting. And so,
Agreed.
it's people like that that are always going to be there watching Fish and Mizzy and so on and so forth. The list goes on. Guys always in the chat usually and stuff. That's what it's about for me. It's not about the number says 50 or 60. It's about
Yeah.
the ones who are watching and appreciate it. And I appreciate the people who watch and sit through the damn spoilers. So,
Yeah.
I got off on a tangent, but I really appreciate real life shit in real conversations versus the ones like Sunday. You could get all mad all you want, people, for not being invited to this or not being invited to that, but you know what? Chemistry matters, okay?
Yeah.
And maybe you got to look in the mirror if you're not getting invites to anything. I don't know. I'm not saying that sounds shitty because there's certain people I would love to have on certain trips or whatever, but you got to get to know people. You know what I mean? These trips, these meetups we do, these Airbnbs, there's only room for X amount of people. Okay. A lot of people get left out. And there's only room for X amount of people, and you got to know these people. You can't be inviting somebody you've never ever talked to or met or anything like that and saying, hey, yeah, do you want to come on these trips? It's a big commitment. It's a lot of money, things like that. And then also doing live streams, you get mad you're not invited and all that stuff, but it's like, hey, chemistry matters. You got to make sure you get along with these people, and the
Yep.
chat's got to get along with them. And I try to have people on my channel, and sometimes I'll get to having other people on, but it's never personal. It's not like that. And I'll be straight up with you. If somebody messages me say, hey, do you got a problem with me? I'm one of those people never on your channel. I'll tell you straight up to your face. You know what? I don't like you, but I'll tell you to your face. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
it I'm not going to talk shit behind a screen about it. You know what I mean?
That's like I said, that's how I am. I'm the type of person of, if I'm not going to say it to your face, I don't say it at all.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person that I'll never talk shit about anybody behind their back. I, whatever I'm willing to say, I'm willing to say to that person to their
Right.
face.
Exactly. Yep. That's what it's about, man. Just say it to their face. You got a problem with somebody, say it to their face.
Yep.
But there's a lot of cowards, man, that hide behind a computer screen, talk your shit, and then never say it to somebody's face. And I'll say right straight up, you're a coward. That's cowardly. At
Yeah,
least
it
message
is.
them. I get it. You're not going to meet up with them in person, but DM them or something, And not
Yeah.
everybody's going to like you. That's life, right? I don't expect everybody to watch my content. I don't cry about the fact that I don't have 8,000 or 9,000 or 10,000 subs or as much. I don't put the work in like other people do, but I have no interest in doing that. I do these live streams. Maybe I'll get back to recording pre-recorded content someday, but I'm not interested in. I don't watch a lot of YouTube anymore. It's not because I don't like people. It's just I don't have an interest in it. If you want to talk, I'm up for a conversation. I talk with Mizzy, Tony on the phone, Caprice, so on and so forth. I'll text people, whatever. Not really. I fucking hate texting, but
You hate texting. You're a voice texter.
texting. Yep, exactly. But yeah, that's what it's about for me. So I went on a whole rant about that, but it's like, people need to be straight up with people. You got a problem, go to the person directly. Stop with the BS behind a computer screen, talk your shit, all that stuff. Go to the person, man. Like, and half the people running their mouth, you don't even know these people. You don't even know them. You're running your mouth about somebody you've never even met. You've never even talked to. Shut the fuck up. So, anyways, this was fun. This was fun. I know we didn't dive into spoilers on Forever Strong. I didn't really want to cover, we can put spoilers on the screen, but we've already worked our way past that. But I really hope people do watch Forever Strong. I hope people watch these movies.
Yeah.
If I could
Like I
pick one,
said, I really liked Forever Strong. To me, I don't like you were talking about. I'm the type of person that if I can take something out of a movie and really enjoy it and it keeps me engaged, that film, like you said about certain movies, that film, I threw my phone. I'm like, I was all in on that film watching it. And even though it's, like you said, a Christian based film, I didn't care what it was because of the message. And I thought the story was really good behind it. You know what I mean? If a movie I can put myself in or relate to, or something that really has a strong message, are the films I like the most. Usually those are my favorite kind of films. I always say people consider me a horror guy, but my favorite kind of films are films that I can relate with or put myself into or get something out of it.
I think relating to a movie is huge, and I know you don't have to, but as I get older and I watch more and more movies now, and these movies that people are recommending to me, I find myself when I could relate to it or put myself in the shoes of the movie, I find myself just being able to just get way more into it. And like an
But
Officer and a Gentleman, it's not that I could necessarily relate to that movie, but I get lost in it. You know what I mean? And like
yeah,
you said, so this you just kind of like screw this. You throw your phone, you just get lost in a movie. That's a great feeling. You don't even have to relate to it, but to get
no,
lost in the movie is a
lost in
great
a
feeling.
film.
Yeah. And I just rewatched An Officer and a Gentleman, and I showed Mizzy it, and he was like, it's a little, he was like, man, it's slow. It gets slow in the middle. He's like, man, there's some pacing issues here. But that last 20 minutes of An Officer and Gentleman, I rewatched it less than a month later after I had first watched it. So sometimes that doesn't always work. My rewatch of An Officer and Gentleman, it held up every bit the first time it did. I loved it. So I
Yeah,
was
movie.
like,
It's a great movie. I
yeah,
really enjoyed it.
yeah.
I know
Um,
I gave that movie a 4 or 5 stars. I don't
yeah.
remember.
Oh,
She told me.
I don't follow her on
No, I'm
Letterboxd.
talking about, yeah, she doesn't do Letterbox.
Okay, gotcha. She messaged me though, and that's what it's about for me. It's the messages you get. There's going to be a
Yeah,
movie on Mizzy's watch list next week for him, and the director got a letter from somebody about the movie and just letting them know what kind of impact it had on their life. And so for me, that's what it's about. Now, I'm not writing the movies, but getting messages from people letting you know, hey, you're making a difference, or hey, I appreciate your content, like the comments that Ellie always drops 99% of the time on a replay. Those are what it's about for me. It's the
yeah,
people like all you in the damn chat right now. That's what it's about. So, and my dad was actually teasing Mizzy and I the other day because he's like, he was telling me, he said, I think it's so cool because I'm on the phone sometimes. Mizzy talks to my dad quite a bit. And so I'm like, my dad says to me, he goes, I think it's so cool how you two are just so close. And he lives in Massachusetts. In the same way with Tony, and I don't give a crap what people think. Like people think, oh, it's clicky or whatever. You get jealous of this or that. And there's people out there like that. But it's like, I don't care, man. I got close friends and I've had close friends, and sometimes you fall apart and whatever, you move on, and that's life, and people need to move on and get over it. It happens, okay?
yeah,
We're not always going to be friends our whole life. Things happen, okay? It's time to move on. But yeah, I just think like how you develop a bond with some people, and like I said, sometimes that fades, but I talk to you on the phone. I mean,
yeah.
it's cool. Like I'm not friends with everybody in this community, and some people I'm obviously closer to than others. Some people I just message on Instagram, and it's like, hey, what's up, whatever it is. But then there's the ones you meet up with and stuff. And those meetups, man, like getting together, it's just, man, it's fun. Like that weekend in Tennessee was one of the best weekends of my life, So
Hmm.
it's what it's about, man. It's not about views and clicks and likes and subscribers. It's about the relationships that I form for me. I don't give a shit
Yeah.
how much money
I'm,
I earn off of YouTube or
I'm,
subscribers or views or sharing stuff. I don't need to promote it. It's the relationships I form what means something to me.
I've always been the same way. We've talked about it before. I, I really don't care about any of that stuff. I, it's like I told you before. The only reason I ever started YouTube was to talk to people. And what keeps me going is my chat on my videos. If if I start putting out videos and the videos have zero in the chat, is that's the day. If that continues, that's the day I'll stop doing YouTube, because there's no point in doing it. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care what I make, how many subscribers I have. If there's if there's no conversation or talks about movies or different things or meeting new people, there's no reason for me to do it. That's the things that I cared about. It's
Right.
the
And
reason I
man,
started it.
I think of like, the, dude, Tony and Mizzy and a couple other people. I mean, I'm really close with. I don't make any. I don't care. I always like, slightly teasing others, but like Tony, I looked up to Tony, man. I do. Basement Blues.
Hmm.
He's somebody I look up to, and I love that guy. I do, and he's just somebody I'm extremely close to, and I hope he feels the same way. But I look at people like that, and I'm like, man, I don't have a relationship necessarily with anybody even out here like that. I have a really close friend of mine, but we don't even talk that much. And that's how I am, man. It's not personal when I take a 6-week hiatus or, whatever. It ain't like that. It's just sometimes you need a break. That's just life,
Yeah.
especially with all the negativity surrounding things, man. When I take a break and I get away from that, it feels so good not to get texts from people or calls or see people complaining about an artwork or a steel book or a transfer. It's just like sometimes it's nice to take a break from all the damn whining about, oh, this didn't get a slipcover. Oh, this artwork has this. It's like I could use a break from that shit, man.
Yeah. Me and Tim were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, Tim has really been going in on that, and I'm totally with him. I absolutely agree with him. And
Yeah.
there's some people I could call out necessarily, but I don't want to do it. There's some huge channels that do it for clickbait, and it's like, yeah, they know what sells, right? It does. You put a clickbait thumbnail and you're complaining about something, it's going to get the views and you're going to get paid. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not my style. To each his own. You want to do it, go ahead. Not my style.
I was gonna say, and it might be bad of me to say, but again, I speak my mind. Sometimes those are the things that make me want to give up with the whole YouTube and
Tim,
Instagram. It's
Tim
just
just
like
talked about it.
I I have I care, like when me and Tim talk, I care about what's on that disc, and I love movies and movies I can connect with. I don't give a flying F about the artwork or a slipcover or anything. And when a lot of it has become the baseball collector mentality, it it takes the wind out of my sails sometimes. That
Mm.
it's just like, because I feel like people buy stuff for monetary value, or people want it with this and that because it's going to be worth more later on. They can sell it, or, you know, or it's like a clout chase kind of thing. It's just like, I don't know, because I don't collect like that. And when you see in the community that those type of channels are the channels that are doing really good, and the people that are more about the passion of what's on that disc and care more about that are doing worse, because that's what more people care about. It just takes the wind out of your sails, that it's like, why are you even doing it then?
Yeah,
Because
I like
that's,
I said, I could. We've seen a lot of videos of it recently, and I was glad to see Tim put out one saying, "Hey, like this Paramount Scares box set, for example." Tim was like,
yeah,
"Hey, I get that it's a weird hodgepodge and mix of movies, but it's. I'm just happy we're getting a 4K." And
yeah,
that's what I told Tim today. I said, "At least it's getting a 4K." And I appreciate artwork as much as anyone. That Mummy, the Monsters collection, I think
yeah,
that's the coolest art I've ever seen in my life. Shout out to Tony for getting me one. But I don't do it for that. This is why I like doing it. It's to
yeah.
talk about the movie itself and
Hmm.
watching movies with my dad. You know what I mean? Like I'm just happy if a movie gets a Blu-ray. I hope I look at the movie like that Long Game, the golf one, didn't get a Blu-ray. There's a new shark movie called No Way Up. I liked it. It's not great. Didn't get a Blu-ray. RLJ only put it out on DVD. And then there's one called Lights Out with Frank Grillo. Shout out to Holland Oates' favorite actor. But it got a DVD only. And so it's
Yep.
like, man, I'll take a Blu-ray of those. I don't care about the artwork or anything. I just want a Blu-ray. And I mean, I get that at least it has a DVD, but it's like y'all are complaining about some of this stuff. Y'all are complaining about the wrong stuff. I get the complaints about
Yeah.
Barbarian not getting a disc. That is true. That's a legit complaint. That's the gripe.
That's a legit complaint.
Yeah, we're not getting a disc, period. That's why people are
Because even like with me, when I went to Bull Moose and I bought the DVD of this, it's like I'm not going, ugh, it has no Blu-ray, I'm not going to watch it. It's
yeah.
just like I'm just happy to have the film, and that film made me laugh. I didn't care that I have the DVD in my collection, because even and I don't fault anybody for liking 4K. Everybody likes what they like. Me, I buy 4Ks, but me, I prefer Blu-ray over anything. I'm a 3D guy. I'm all about 3D. My main TV that I watch is not even 4K. That's how little I care about it.
The thing with artwork, man, and I get the Paramount Scares box set, it's probably going to get displayed, but
yeah,
most steelbook artwork, for example, and slipcover artwork, all these people complaining about the Nightmare on Elm Street, and I haven't seen much of it because I try to avoid it. But it's like that shit's. Michelle made a great point one day on Ken's channel, okay, and I loved what she said. It was when Ken and Michelle did the audit video, and Michelle says he's showing that he bought another copy of Friday the 13th, and Michelle's like, "Why'd you buy that?" "Oh, I lost Joe." "Oh, okay." Lost you for a second there. And okay, and so Michelle says to him, "Why'd you buy that?" And it's like he says, because it's got a new quote on the back of the steelbook, and Michelle's like, "You're never even gonna read that quote or see that quote because it's gonna sit on the shelf." And I'm watching it, and she's attacking all of us, Michelle, but she's spitting complete facts, right?
True.
More than likely, especially the artwork on the back of your steelbook, more than likely, most people put these things on a shelf. You have yours on a shelf, I have mine on a shelf, and you're not displaying the back of the steelbook, that's for sure, if you do display it. So when I heard Michelle say that, I always remember it because I'm like, she was spitting complete facts. All this stuff is going to do is sit on a shelf. And so to act like, oh, the artwork this, the artwork that, we complain about artwork on the inside of steelbooks or disc art. I hear people complain about, and I'm like, man, I never even opened my steelbook. How much? I'm like, all I do is open it and watch it. I was like,
I was gonna say for the longest time, because I like the artwork on steelbooks, 95% of my steelbooks were still sealed. I never opened them because I had a copy next to it to watch. I liked it for the artwork, but when you say like the back quote, I have every single Friday the 13th steelbook. I have the box set, but I have all the steelbooks. They're still sealed. I don't even know what the back artwork even looks like. I just like that it had poster. I just like that it had poster art.
In these box sets too, most people, those box sets, like Tony, for example, and I'm going to call Tony out, but I'm the same way as him. He will double dip on a movie to get the steelbook and then get the box set steelbook, like A Nightmare on Elm Street. He'll get the steelbook, he'll get the slipcover, and then he'll get the Zavi edition. But he'll keep the Zavi edition sealed. But Tony, the difference between Basement Blues, he doesn't complain. You don't hear Tony complaining. So
no.
But he'll keep stuff sealed too. So we talk about, oh, we want the inside to look like this or slit stickers or something like that. It's like half the time I think some people keep it sealed anyways.
Yeah.
So, and I definitely
because like I said, some of it has to do with that baseball card mentality, and not throwing shade at Tony or anything like that. So don't let anybody get it the wrong way. But it's like Tony can afford to buy multiple editions to watch one, keep the other one sealed because he likes the packaging and everything. And he can collect however he wants. I don't, I used to be that type of collector that I bought the Blu-ray to 4K, but I bought the steelbook too. And I just kept them sealed just to look at the artwork. If I said it a long time ago, if I actually had wall space, I would put magnets on my wall and do a whole wall of steelbooks if I could, just to look at them because I love the artwork on them. Like Jay does. There was a guy, Wilsonian Museum, that did it years before that. I was going to steal that idea from. I just don't have the.
I really like Jake Steelbook Obsessed as a collector because Does he get subscriber mail? Yes, but I don't hear Jake complaining. The people who get subscriber mail and still complain, I'm like, stop. Okay, you're getting free shit. None of
Yeah.
us want to hear you complaining. But Jake's really cool because he posts, he displays it. But Jake opens all of his stuff. He doesn't keep
Everything.
it sealed. He opens all of his stuff, so he's not a box collector. And nothing wrong with being an inbox collector or still sealed, whatever. I am like that with some stuff. But Jake, I really like what he does with his pins too. He has a cork board and he puts all of his pins
Yeah.
on it. And I'm starting to do that now. I'm starting to collect pins and kind of keep them.
Yeah. I
think that's
have.
really cool. I like looking at how people, but I like looking at a Jake, a Tony, and what they do with their collections because they don't whine and bitch and complain.
No.
You won't hear that. You know what I mean?
No.
They're not out there complaining about every damn thing. I usually hear Jake and the Tonys of the world excited about a new release.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I said, the only reason I ever got rid of my second copies on all my steelbooks is I ran out of room. And I did it last year that I purchased like 500 that I had doubles for. And this year I did 900 that I think there's only probably like maybe 20 steelbooks in my collection now that I have a double for. But besides that, I had to get rid of them all just because of space and certain steelbooks that I had sealed. I think you got one of them. But it's like I had like 4 different Total Recall steelbooks. I'm like, why do I need that movie 6 times? And it's like I had to get. I'm like, and they're all sealed. So it's just like I had to let them go just because I don't have the room for it.
Yeah. I say we get back to the.
Let's get back to it. We went off cue.
We did for about 20 minutes, but I think that's sometimes good. Like I said, just real life conversations. You and I are going to shoot straight, and that's something I appreciate about you. Smirk is in the chat, says, hey, what's up, Bob and Joe? John Doe Juggalo.
How we doing, sir?
A lot of people saying hi to Smirk. Nikki says hi, Smirk. Jesus Light Fish says, we got Capri saying hi to Smirk. Everybody said hi to Smirk. Marie says, that's great, Bob. Do you have a brother? I do not have a brother. Nope, need something lighthearted next time, Izzy says. Mizzy might have movie PTSD. It can happen, I know. Yes, I agree. I have found quite a few new movies because of your stream. See, that's what it's about. Thank you, Jeff. We watch a lot of the same movies, Mama Blu-ray says. Yeah. Johnny says, honestly, I've seen about 50 to 60% of these movies you talked about. I want to say something about Mama Blu-ray's daughter, and I know Sue might not be in the chat, or she might have left already. But Tony actually mentioned Sue's name the other day. He's like, I look up to Sue. He's like, Sue is somebody who stays out of all the drama, at least in chats and stuff like that. He's like, dude, that's kind of how I want to be, Tony said. Basement Blues. He's like, I just need to stop. He's like getting involved because you see how Sue, like, you don't hear Sue's name come up in the conversations ever. She just refuses to get engaged in it.
No, I try to be the same way. I always try to be Switzerland with everything. And I just try to say drama free. But if somebody comes at me, I will. That's the only time I'll bite back.
Yeah.
If somebody like comes at me personally, then that's when I'll lose it. But besides that, when there's drama, I just keep my mouth shut and I
don't want to hear about it. I really don't want to hear about it because I'll get pissed too, especially if you start calling me out or my friends out. That's when I get a problem, is when you start talking about shit about my friends. Marie says, gentleman is a 4.5 for her. I'm usually here, but quiet mostly. Mama Blu-ray says, we see you. Bonnie Mizzy says. Johnny says, for me, when I'm not active in the chat, that means I'm paying attention to the panel and it's a movie I've seen, seeing if they've noticed the same things I noticed. I appreciate that, Johnny. Jeff says, real ones. That's why y'all are my type of people. Jeff says, and Jeff's my type of people. Let me tell you, man, Jeff is every bit of my cup of tea, man. He's talkative like me, but he's quiet on panels. It's probably because he's listening and he's better about not interrupting, unlike me.
I was gonna say, I really like Jeff. Me and him don't really talk, but I've always really enjoyed Jeff.
Dude,
you and me talk a lot, but like you said, we both interrupt each other because we both talk a lot.
Yeah, when you meet Jeff, you're gonna be like, man, this dude's fucking cool. He's straight up. Like Jeff's straight up, man. When you meet him, that's what my dad always says. You're straight up, man. Jeff says, I like Johnny. Speaking of, being straight up, wow, still going, yes, and we went on a whole rant, Jess. But my dad actually said that about Mizzy. He's like, what I like about that guy, Michael, He's bad with names, so sometimes he says Marcus. But he's like, what I like about Michael is that he's straight up. That he goes, he's just cool. I could joke with him, I could talk shit, and he's not going to get offended, and that's pretty true.
Hmm.
So Brian says, sorry for lurking. Got on my stream very late. Laugh out loud. I'll have to catch the replay. No, you're good, Brian. Thanks for being here. Johnny's the
Yep.
comedian, always good for making you laugh. Johnny says, Forever Strong is in the watch list, and Bob knows my feelings about Christian-based films. Yeah, Bonnie, I enjoy your lives a lot, Bob. Thank you, Bonnie. I like a clown. I put on a show. The pain is real, even if nobody knows, Ms. Yeah, The Mask. Jeff says Johnny
Hmm.
with hugs. I love a good sports movie. Fish says Johnny. I hear that. I do. Yeah, I do know what you mean, buddy. No worries. She said 4.5 out of 5. Yep.
Yeah.
Brian, I
That's
grew up
high.
with Officer and a Gentleman. Always loved it. Sydney says hello. I subscribe to the channel. Hello to everyone in the chat. What's up, Sydney Eubanks? I've seen him around before, or it could be a woman. I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. Gender assuming assumption, right?
Hmm.
Um, Sydney says, Jane Doe Letty says, hi, Sydney. Hey, Sydney, I've made some amazing friends on here, Jeff says. Same here, Jeff. You have no idea what this community does for me, Mama Blu-ray says. I have a feeling. Nikki says this group of the group of folks are great. Jeff says my dream is to. There's some people I'd like to meet one day. I really hope to meet Nikki one day. After meeting her last week backstage, I was like, man, she's the shit. She's cool. She's straight up. Talk about
Hmm.
her. Her and Bonnie are old school though. You wouldn't expect anything less. You're one of those, Johnny. Love this community more than most of my family, honestly. Mizzy says my favorite movie genre is thrillers, crime, mystery, and drama suspense. We'll talk about it all here. Bonnie, you inspire all of us. Mizzy Truth, Johnny Too Kind. Mizzy, I crack up when I accidentally message you, same name as my bro. Yes, it's definitely funny, but very welcome. I think Mizzy told me. Bonnie's messaged him accidentally because same name as her brother. Look, if a 4K transfer looks like shit, I'll say something, but aside from that, I'm happy with owning what I love, except for Kill Her Goats. That's a,
Hmm.
now that makes for good entertainment. That movie will always haunt you. Just be glad Kill Her Goats has a 4K. This thing I hate is that people, the YouTube creators, are obsessed with the artwork and slipcovers packaging, which is insane to me. And I love slipcovers, but it's not going
I
to stop me from buying a movie.
sometimes I feel like, especially if they're
Yeah.
if they have a channel, sometimes I feel like that you can't. I take a lot of it with a grain of salt because sometimes I feel like they're trying to build up that hype just to get the views.
And I got to get to this one. I like 4Ks before I got an OLED watching, and 4K wasn't a big deal to me as long as it was 720 or 1080p. I was fine. So he says 90% of my steals are sealed. Yeah, but you know what? Movie Hunter never talks shit. He never complains.
Never.
Ever complains. He's just happy to get a steel book. If
Yep.
anything, he complains that there's too much. Like me and Mizzy or me and Tony, we talk about how there's too much to keep up with. Um, Jeff says Tony has spent a whole ass life putting himself into a position to do what he does. Anyone who has anything to say about it is just jealous. Wow, great
Yep.
idea about magnets with steel books. Yep, check out Steelbook Obsessed. He does it. He shows it off sometimes. Same
Hmm.
people will buy the same artwork over and over again. Yeah, yeah. If it's a slipcover and a steelbook or whatever. Amazing stream, guys. Got a couple movies to watch now. Capri says, just ate lunch. Good night, international friends. I will stay quiet until someone starts drama with my friends. Yeah, freaking Mama Blu-ray is definitely like that. Marcus, never mind. I'll stay till the end. Michael Marcus,
Hmm.
me, Holland. I hope to meet Dakota one day. You hope to meet Frank Gorilla one day, Holland. Ken and Bob are the bald wonders of the physical media game. All right. My prediction for you was number 10, Stop Loss. Number 9, Forever Strong. I didn't know if you would like.
Wow.
Number 8, Brittany runs a marathon. So I was right there with those.
You're
Perfect
right.
World, number 7. I was surprised by in a way. I didn't know if it would be too. It's not a western, but I didn't know if it would be too kind of old school for you. Too oldish.
No,
All right, that's number 7. Killing Ground, number 6. I just didn't know if it would work for you as much as the others. I should have known better.
I love Australian films.
I hope they serve beer in hell, number 5. 4, Lean on Pete. 3, The First Time. 2, I said Puppy Love. I knew you would like it. I was right about that one. Then came you, number 1. I really thought you would like that one more. So that was my prediction ranking. Where would you rank mine? And then I'll tell you how I had it set up.
All right, I have you at number 10, Stop Loss. Number 9, Killing Ground. Number 8, Puppy Love. Number 7, I Hope You Serve Beer in Hell. Number 6, Then Came You. Number 5, Brittany Runs a Marathon. Number 4, The First Time. Number 3, Lean on Pete. Number 2, A Perfect World. And number 1, Forever Strong.
Okay, so for me, number 10 is Lean on Pete.
Okay.
Like
Wow.
it's a 3.5 for me. I like it. It's good, but it's not.
But when you said it was super slow, I was just like, oh, I rated it too high.
Puppy Love is number 9. Number 8 is I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. 7 is Killing Ground. 6 is Stop Loss. Number 5 would be A Perfect World. 4, The First Time. 3, Brittany Runs a Marathon. 2, Forever Strong. And 1, I absolutely love Then Came You.
Wow.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
were right about The First Time on there. So
Yeah.
and then for Marie, what I would predict her ranking: number 10, I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. Number 9, Stop Loss. 8, Killing Ground. 7, A Perfect World. 6, Forever Strong. 5, Brittany Runs a Marathon. 4, The First Time. 3, Then Came You. 2, Lean on Pete. 1, Puppy Love. What did she rank them?
Number 10, Killing Ground.
Okay.
Number 9, Lean on Pete. Number 8 is Brittany Runs a Marathon. Number 7 was Stop Loss. Number 6, Then Came You. Number 5, I Hope You Serve Beer in Hell. Number 4, A Perfect World. Number 3, The First Time. Number 2, Forever Strong. And number 1, Puppy Love.
Okay, so I was right about Puppy Love. I was wrong in The First Time I knew would be up there. But, oh, damn. She had I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell a lot higher than I would have thought.
Yeah,
So.
number 5. She got some chuckles in it.
Yeah. Did she think that it was really offensive, or did she like
No.
that? Okay.
No, it didn't bother her.
Yeah.
Sometimes she went, oh, geez, but that was about it. But she really, I Hope You Serve Beer in Hell, she gave it 3 stars.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Next up, let's talk. What would you buy these?
Yeah. If some of these had physical releases, I would definitely buy them. Puppy Love, Forever Strong, Then Came You, and The First Time, and Killing Ground are all ones I would buy.
Okay. All right. What would you rate my list as overall?
Overall, you only got 2 that were below average.
Duds.
Yeah, and then 4 movies that were 3s. And like I said, the highest was a 4.5. You're in the 3, but you're in like the high 3s.
So 3.5.
Almost 3.5, because only number 2, number 3, and number 4 were 3.5.
Okay.
But
right.
5 through 8 were 3. So you're like a 3.41. You know what I mean?
3.5, asshole. Fucking Tony gave my list 4 stars. That I gave for him. I'll never let that go. And that's everything. And now we get to talk backstage because we got a lot to discuss. We got to go over the 10 movies and all that stuff. There's some fun stuff. I might take some clips out of tonight and post them on my story where we talked about a couple people. I don't know. I might try and do that. But yeah, tonight was fun, man. I'm very excited about next week as well. I really get excited about these, some more than others, if you want to call it that. But I always get excited about them. I never know how they're going to turn out. But based on the movies that either were recommended to me or the movies I recommend to people, and this tonight was a lot more comedy, so there wasn't necessarily as deep of conversations. But next week with Mizzy, there's going to be some pretty heavy, important discussions. So
I'm really curious what you gave Mizzy.
I'm really hoping a lot of people decide to check out the movies I gave Mizzy tonight. There's a hodgepodge of everything, but next week it's depressing, more depressing. So
I'm really curious how many I've seen, because I love my depressing films.
Yeah, you've seen a couple. I know you've seen one of them for sure. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. But please tune in next Tuesday. I haven't even scheduled it yet on here. But next Tuesday, mark your calendars. It should be, I think, August 6th. Yeah, that's going to be August 6th. Make sure you
Day
tune
after
in.
my birthday.
Yeah, happy early birthday. Yeah, early birthday it would be. So that is exciting. I hope to meet Dakota as well with the fucking bear trap show dog style. Stop it, straw dog style. What a dark. Where's April? I hope she's in the chat. I'm gonna message April. No, she's probably sleeping. I can't do that. But I don't approve of that message. Oh shit. Mizzy says 3
Mhm.
Brittany. Wow, Johnny, a bear trap, Johnny. That would make Dakota 50 Shades of something other than gray. Yeah, I'd say so. Poppy Love need great list at least a 3.5. 50 Shades of Blood Red sounds like it. Yeah, good night, fellas. Guys, stay well. 3.5, you a-hole. Joe, just give him the 3.5. Right? Thank you, Marie. Have a good one, Bonnie. Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, Fish. Hell yeah, another honest dude. Night, everyone. Fun stream, great chat, everyone. Good night, everyone. See you in a week, Bob Mizzy says. Fish says, great stream as always. Some more movies added to the list. Thank you, Fish. Caprice says, good night, everyone. Thank you for hanging out, Caprice. Helen says, good night. Go watch a Frank Grillo movie, Helen. And Marie says, thanks, Bob. Good night. All right, that's everything. So we're going to get out of here. But everyone, see you next week. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. We'll see everyone on the next one.